Hell yeah, brother.
That was
All right.
nice, man. I was
Very
jamming.
good. Very
Yeah,
nice.
that was a demo from the great Vinnie Vincent that I found online, and I just loved it. But the second song, guys, is actually a song that's going to be. Unfortunately, the film is in developmental hell, as they call it, but it's it's going to be in Brandon's newest film, Sonny the Vampire.
Yep.
What describe Sonny the Vampire?
It's
for
a
us?
vampire mockumentary. Unlike what is that movie called? Into the Shadows?
Into the
It's a
yeah.
show, yeah. It's like The Office for vampires.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about the Nosferatu movie?
No, he's
Or-
talking about a TV show.
Oh, TV
There's
show.
there's a TV show too, and there was a British movie that came out like 6-7 years ago that the TV show's based. Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows, Chris Snyder. That's right.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I would say somewhat inspired by that, but not in the same vein. It's going to be sort of an 80s mockumentary about a group of Floridian vampires just sort of living up in Florida, and TBD 2024, hopefully.
I'm excited. I told Brandon I need a role in the film. I wanted to do this. I demanded. I didn't ask. I demanded I do the soundtrack. So hopefully you'll hear "Baby Take My Hand" somewhere in Sonny the Vampire. It's up
Oh,
to
you will.
Brandon's the producer and director, so that's up to
The whole
his discretion.
soundtrack's going to be CHH music.
I got
Yeah.
more songs. I've got more songs I want to make
know.
for it. So I'm excited about that. We got a super chat. Let's get the Saturn video. He says, after finally achieving Komodo power, CHH and the Butterman confront the ultimate evil, Jordan Brown Peterson, the real mastermind behind the DVD empire. The shattering can commence at last. We got to start this off right. How about my favorite?
The best part of eating corn on the cob is when like shit sprays out of it and you hit somebody in the eye with the water.
It never gets old. Oh, man. Garrett, what's going on, dude? I like your shirt. You're always in style, dude.
Look at that. Vulgar
Yes.
display of horror.
Nice.
Dynamite. Let me ask you something, Garrett. You have the remastered Phantasm poster. Is that like what is like? Is that a real poster or because did
Yeah,
they put it out
actually,
theatrically or?
That was when they did the remaster one, like the Phantasm. What was it called? Was it called Phantasm Remastered? It was like when they put it in like
They
a
put it in high
4K.
def, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the poster that they used for like the screening for it. But you can get that poster still. It's signed by Don Coscarelli. You can actually get that and posters for all the movies on Coscarelli's website still. And you can get them signed if you want to. So
Nice.
I got the whole bunch. This was the only one that's on the wall right now, but it's definitely a good deal. I mean, signed Coscarelli, basically like one sheets on his website. It's money.
That's dynamite. Yeah, I like it. What else you got? So you got the gate back there. Escape from.
I got the gate, Escape from New York, The Thing, Phantasm. Got the Crush over there. Oh yeah, rocking it out.
Brandon, you were gonna make Escape from Newark, but I think you decided against it, right?
Yeah, it just got too expensive. Too many hoodlums over there.
Is
So.
Newark worse than New York?
Probably. Plus, it's a little bit too close to Hackensack. Like, how far is Newark away from Hackensack? Because I'm pretty sure I got family in Hackensack, so I just want to stay.
Newark, New Jersey?
Yeah, He was gonna make Escape from Newark, the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, is it going to star Daniel LaRusso from Karate Kid? Because that's where he was from.
Probably. I had a whole claymation.
Well,
city built
before
and everything.
Cobra Kai, you probably could have afforded him.
You could have.
It was the first of my Down the Shore trilogy, and it just didn't happen. So,
really quick, we got another $4.99 from Tales from the Shelf. Ready for a fun show tonight. Cheers to you guys. I'm really excited too. Let me say hey to everybody in the chat. Then this is gonna be fun, and I'm really excited. We got Dave, we've got Martin K, Muzzak, LA Jewel, Iron Wolf, Adrian James, Chris Snyder. How are you? Blu-ray Addict, Suede Persuade. Hey, Planet CHH, about the Rob Zombie Halloween Walmart Steelbook. I just wanted to know what box set can I find that 10-hour documentary of Michael Lives, please and thank you. The Michael Lives documentary. I think you got to get the special edition
3-disc set, right?
Of
the 3-disc DVD. Yeah.
It's a 3-disc DVD release or it's a 2-disc Blu-ray release. Message me on Instagram, Suede, and I'll send you a link to where you can purchase it. Jaden, Ragnar 666, hell yeah. Iron Wolf, Ann Lives, Jackie 2023. Good to see everybody. Kevin Krueger. It's good to see everybody in here. I'm glad to see y'all back. We almost had 100 people in here already. Drop a like, please. I don't feel like being that old grumpy bastard asking you guys to like it. I don't want to end up on a cringe compilation in 2 years begging for you guys to like the video. So do it now. Thank you. Garrett, I know you're a big Phantasm fan, so you're going to have a good time. And I think you have been wanting to talk about Phantasm. Am I wrong about that, or am I right about that?
100%. I wanted to. It's a franchise that I absolutely love. It's one that my uncle introduced me to as a young age, and I just kind of fell in love with the first one. And the sequels, I think, are pretty strong all around. I won't say the same for Ravager. I know Brandon's a big fan of that one, but
It's gonna get ugly.
I've actually only seen it once. I have never gone back to rewatch it. So as far as like a lot of the details, I don't really remember. But I don't know. I think the original Phantasm is in my opinion a freaking masterpiece. Like 100%. It's so different. It's unique. It's a coming of age story. It's like sci-fi horror. It's awesome. It's fantasy. It could be considered sci-fi fantasy.
Yes.
But it's so good, man. So I'm so excited to kind of talk about it.
Me too. So Ann lives. What's up, Ann? Ann's a good kid. He's like the next generation, Garrett. He's like I think
That's what we need.
Yeah, he's the next generation, and he's making YouTube videos. He did a video. He's doing videos. He'll go over everything he watched in a month, and the kid's going through movies. So God bless him. Let me get my classic.
With all these nicknames, everyone that I accumulate like 3 pounds of fat.
Really quick.
Eating something. What are you eating there, buddy?
Brownies?
Chocolate fudge brownie.
Are you dunking it, or are you just catching the crumbs? What are we doing?
I'm catching the crumbs.
Oh, okay.
Brandon, I've noticed.
Trying to be a gentleman.
Happy late birthday, Brandon. Brandon just had a birthday the other day.
Thank you.
Everybody in the chat, wish him a happy 35.
Yeah, officially older now.
Brandon, you look great. You look dynamite. You know.
Thank you. I try.
I like your shirt.
I shaved my second chin tonight. That's why I look so good.
100%.
This is a good look for you. I like this. You know, like the short on the top and the clean face. The stash, I thought was never going to go, and then as soon as I got used to it, there it was. It's going.
Yeah.
You know. So before we get going, guys, you know, I kind of took a page out of Garrett's book. Garrett's a master promoter, so I'm trying to step my game up. So, guys, I'm going to post the TeePublic link. We got something very special tonight. And this was produced by Screen Media. So let's check this out really quick.
Boy, you think you die when you go to heaven. Not if you're watching this show, you ignorant bastards. Available now for a limited time only is the Planet Dirty Phantasm shirts. You'll be beating the ladies or men off with a stick wearing this shirt. Order now or Brandon will move to Wyoming and live naked and afraid for several years.
Dude, I fucking love it. I love it.
That belongs on the dark web right there.
Dude, limited shirts for the show, man. That's what I'm talking about, Christian. Look at this. You know, messing around.
I know. Hey, dude, that's all you. I just figured
It's smart, man, you know?
I'm trying to get the link. 1 second. All right, let's see. All right, guys, I posted it in the chat. If you want to get a shirt, they're on sale, $16. In this economy, it's a fucking steal, quite frankly.
100%.
So check it out, guys. Check it out. Let's get going. We're gonna get the chat involved in this. I uploaded them somewhere. Okay, so here's the rules. Open discussion on each film. I don't want to be like, okay, Garrett, tell me the first time you saw it. Okay, Brandon, tell me. Let's just talk. I just want to talk about it. Rating on a 10 scale, Brandon can use his cockamamie scale, I guess. Okay, so that's the rules. And then at the end, Brandon created the award for the Sexy Sentinel Phantasm film that ain't half bad award. So that's the special edition award at the end. And I think Brandon made a plaque for it, so we'll see which one it is. So the first film, Ladies and Germs, we're going to get this show on a roll. I'm excited. The first movie, Phantasm, 1979. So Garrett, I'm just going to start with you, dude. Like, when you think of classic 70s films, you obviously probably put Phantasm in the category of Halloween, Dawn of the Dead, or do you think it's do you think that's too much credit for it, or do you think it belongs and is in that category?
Oh, it belongs.
There's a fine line here.
It belongs in that category, 100%. No questions asked. When I think of, like, in my opinion, when I think of like horror movies, like if I have to name like the big heavy hitters, and even if they're not heavy hitters in a lot of people's eyes, I don't know if it's just like when I saw them or how good I think they are, but the Halloween, I would say Dawn of the Dead. I would even throw Phantasms in there. I would throw Reanimator in there as a big wig. I would throw Hills Have Eyes in there. Like, these are ones that I feel like staples, from the 70s and 80s that are just kind of like, in my opinion, like the big wigs. And some of those I feel like don't get enough love as they should. But to me, 100% Phantasm should be in a top tier horror movies of all time.
Okay, so what do you think it is? So when you think of Phantasm, specifically the first one, what do you think is like the thing about the movie? Because some people can say, certain movies, it's a combination of music, sound, looks of this, but to me, the biggest home run for Phantasm is the tall man or the music. I go back and forth, but I like the music for Phantasm. You could say it sounds similar to like The Exorcist or whatever, but I don't give a rat's ass. Some of my favorite songs are ripoffs from other artists. Like, the soundtrack to Phantasm, it's so good. And then the opening of the film, doesn't it open with like I always love it when they do this. I think Elm Street did this. It opens with a definition of Phantasm, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's funny that you brought up the shirts, because I just put up that shirt with just the definition on it, whatever. But yeah, so it does. And I think it just, that kind of sets the tone, because it makes it feel, I think, somewhat important. Like, it kind of gives you an idea of like, what is Phantasm? What does it mean? But I think with this movie, what kind of makes it different is that it is very different. I posted something today about the box set that I have, and someone commented underneath, and they said, yeah, I tried to watch this. I'm a big fan of 80s slashers, and for some reason I just couldn't get into it. Well, I think that's really the problem, is it's
not an 80s slasher.
Right. So I think if people go into it with the mindset of like, it's kind of like that, it's really not like that. It's actually very different. Like I said, I think when you look it up, it actually says like science fantasy horror. Like, that's a weird definition you don't hear a lot when it comes to movies. And I can see someone else in the chat in here, which I think is a perfect example. They said a lot of people in Phantasm are ugly looking people. They didn't have like, but that's the thing, right? It was it was just regular. Like, these aren't like star-studded actors that everybody knows. These aren't people that went on to do 110 different horror movies. Like, they kind of stuck to this franchise pretty much. And he kind of made the best of what he had, like. And if you knew him, there's a movie Don Coscarelli did called Kenny and Company, which is a really like cool coming of age story from the 70s. And Mike was in it, who is the main kid in this one. And he took him and gave him a starring role in this. And I think because he was just this like little weird looking kid, like, it really works. And
yeah,
I think the slow tone of the movie and the build up and the music and stuff, I think that's what kind of makes this movie. And the fact that it's so different, it kind of goes bonkers. And you've got like these little cloaked monsters and stuff. You got this tall man, like, that's just got superpowers and is super strong. Like, I think it's just so different. And the tone is I like slow horror as long as it's a payoff and it tells a good story. I know a lot of people don't, so I can see why some people might be like, I was bored with this one, but that's kind of more or less my pace, as long as there's a good payoff at the end. But that's what I think. I think it's just to me, there's a coming of age story with Mike. It's got a lot to do with family. It feels very. I didn't grow up in the 70s at all, but I mean, being in like a little neighborhood and the neighbors come by. I just got a weird, like a really cool like vibe with it.
I got a question I want to follow up with that to Brandon. Let me get these real quick. Ends gave me $5 super chat. Christian, are you taking a drink every time Garrett says 100%? Sure, looks like it. You know what? It may be. It may be one of those weird things. It triggers the hand up when he says 100. Maybe it's just like I want to cheers that 100%. So thank you so much, and I appreciate that. And then we got $1.99 from Dynamite Tiger. Thank you so much, man.
Stop, Mike.
God bless you guys. Brandon, let me ask you a question. When it comes to Phantasm, I forgot what I was going to ask you now. I mean, just take me from what do you when you think of Phantasm? What is it? What do you think of? Like, what comes to mind for you?
I guess I'll take a page from McCrae. It's just the mood and atmosphere of that movie is very palpable. It's got a very dreamlike quality to it. The first time I saw the original Phantasm, I think it was 6th or 7th grade. My buddy Tom brought it over on VHS. And
did the artwork of the VHS kind of like draw you in, or did you say what is that?
I think
it's really weird artwork. I like it. It's like metaphor. I love those kinds of paintings, but it's like, what is Phantasm? That's really the question. Explain to me Phantasm. I haven't seen Phantasm, Brandon or Garrett. One of y'all, tell me what is That's the thing I always think about with Phantasm. What is it? What is it about, Brandon?
Dude, and that's the funny thing. It really is. Hold on, I'm trying to see if it says it on here.
What's going on, everybody?
Okay, so it's hard. Nah, I can't do this. I got to try to find the other one. I'm going to say if you read the back of the MGM DVD, it's like the most bonkers description of what this movie's about. And I think that's what kind of drew me in. It was so freaking weird that I'm like, what the hell is it? And it makes zero sense. So I'm going to see if I can pull that up and read it. But that's a good description if you guys want to hear something.
Yeah, what would the log line be? Like a supernatural force invades a small Midwestern town?
Brandon, try amuse me, because that's the funny. Like when I talk to people about movies and I say, you know what? Like I understand you love Dawn of the Dead and you love Halloween and stuff, but there's this movie called Phantasm that's like, to me, it's up there. Well, what is that?
I would say,
I'm like,
I guess you could say like
explain it.
Midwestern suburbia is under siege by a supernatural force who wants to turn everybody into undead forces of evil. I don't know how you would. I guess that's what you would say. That's the basic log line of the film, right?
What is the tall man? What is he?
It's weird. He's almost like an entity from like another.
Is he some sort of gatekeeper? Is he?
He was a man. He was a man at one point. Now he's a thing.
Because in the first movie, doesn't he just straight up pick up that casket?
Dude,
like the kid's watching him and he just picks it up by himself.
That scene made me fall in love with that movie 100%, because it could be one of those scenes that I feel like if you're not really paying attention, you would miss it and not even think anything of it. Like it wouldn't even dawn on you about what just happened. You're just kind of like, oh, he just put it in the thing. But then when you think about it, you're like, wait, a scene before it had like 6 dudes carrying this casket down the thing, and all of a sudden now they're gone. He doesn't think anybody's there. He just lifts it up like it's nothing, puts it in the thing. Like that to me, I was like, holy shit, like what's the deal? Because at that point you didn't really know who that dude or what that dude was. You just thought he was just like what would you say, a mortician? Is that what you would say?
It was 79, right? The first film?
Yes, yeah.
So was that one of the first cosmic horror films when you think about it?
Oh, here we go. I love it.
Because it could be cosmic horror, right?
Oh, I think it is. Brandon, ready to take a drink? 100%. 100%.
It's funny. Did we even bring up that on the Cosmic Show we did like 5 months ago?
I think we did. But I found the backside of that DVD. I'm going to read that for you.
Yes, please do.
So if you guys want to know what Phantasm is about, if you take the old MGM DVD, it says 13-year-old Mike Pearson had always thought that the Morningside Cemetery was a little creepy, but when he witnessed a body being taken away from the grave by an undertaker with superhuman strength, he decides to investigate. What he encounters in Morningside white marbled halls include a grisly murder by a flying metal sphere with a penchant for blood, a horde of cloaked mini-monsters who want Mike as one of their own, and an evil tall man experience the ultimate nightmare. Phantasm will scare, delight, and what does it say right? And keep your eyes open till the smashing finish. So see that? How fun does that sound? Cloaked mini monsters, a sphere with a penchant for blood. It's perfect.
Isn't it true? I don't know who was talking. It might have been years ago on a show I was doing with Pizzow or something. And I don't ask this as a disrespectful way, but wasn't Phantasm kind of a movie that was funded by the Coscarelli came from a wealthy family,
It
right? And
was.
what's
His
the
father
story
did.
on that?
His father funded it for him.
And you would almost think that, like, I feel like if you just heard about Phantasm, like, well, this kind of like with rich kid, his dad funded him to make a movie, and right away, don't you kind of, if before seeing the movie, you'd kind of say to yourself, "I'm out. I don't want to," I don't. But not knowing that and just going into the movie, not knowing anything, I don't. I just
So what I think it was is, I guess you're right. He did come from a wealthy family, but I think what it was he had this he had Mike in that movie, like I said, Kenny and Company, and in that movie they had some like jump scares. It was a coming of age story, but they did this little segment where it took place on Halloween, so they had like these little jump scares as they were going through like a haunted house and stuff. And he said when that movie came out, that was always everybody's favorite parts, like in the theaters and all this other stuff. So he thought to himself, all right, people like this scared stuff, this horror stuff. And
yeah.
he had a dream about running down a long hallway being chased by a metal sphere for years. And he brought it to his dad and said, listen, like, I think this would be a good movie. This is a dream I've had multiple times in my life, and I just feel like it's telling me something. And that's kind of what stemmed the whole idea of the thing, was a dream that he had he said growing up, he said he had it multiple times and his dad funded it. And that's kind of how this all gets started.
That's weird. It's like, I like Coscarelli too, and the interesting thing to me about Phantasm is, like you were saying earlier, these people don't even look. I don't even know if they technically were. Some of them were actors, because now he's looked at, and still, it's like he might get mentioned 1 out of every 20 times you'll mention like a Bruce Campbell, but like the Reggie guy is kind of like that.
Sure.
I don't know how you describe him. Like, he's like a what's what I'm looking for? Unlikely hero, so to speak.
Oh, definitely.
He's a creepy skullet ice cream truck driver.
But that's what kind of makes it so badass, really, because it's so out of left field. Like, he's an ice cream man turned freaking badass, right? As the series went on, it's like, who would have ever thought that? Like, that must have been something he just came up with, like, as they were deciding to make a sequel. Because, watching the first one, there's no way in hell you thought he was going to turn into like a badass with like guns and all this other shit.
Yeah,
but it's kind of cool to see the evolution of that character.
So Brandon, let's go back to you for a second. So your pal gives you this VHS and says, "Dude, watch Phantasm." You watch the movie as a kid. I'm interested in, because when I meet somebody that doesn't like Jason Goes to Hell as a kid, and then years later will take a bullet for the film, I really have no idea how you would have felt about Phantasm as a kid, quite frankly.
I didn't really think about it much one way or the other after I saw the film the first time, unfortunately. But a few years down the road, I guess several years down the road, I got that DVD.
DVD.
Just own it.
It was that Boogeyman DVD, right? That had the Phantasm segment in it. That sort of refreshed my mind with Phantasm. And ever since that DVD came out, that one scene in the mausoleum, where the guy gets killed by the orb and you see his urine spread out across the floor, that's been burned into my mind. And then I went back to the film, and I've really enjoyed it ever since, as well as the rest of the series, especially Ravager.
What is your? I think for me, when I first watched the movie, it was, again, 2009. I was just buying movies and getting stuff, and I kept seeing Phantasm at the at FYE, and I think I saw some documentary on TV. I don't know. I became aware of it, and then maybe I befriended one of the guys that worked there, and he was a big horror fan, and he would tell me this. I remember, because there was this one guy I kept asking, when are you guys going to get Cemetery Man in? He's like, I don't think we have it. I don't think we're getting it in. We might get it in used. And I'll never forget, one day I went in, that guy was like, you ain't gonna believe it, somebody brought in Cemetery Man. I held it for you. I got it for like $5 too, because they sold it used. But I remember getting it Phantasm, and I think he was just like, oh, this is classic. The only thing I remember the first time watching that creeped me out, because I wasn't expecting it. It was like a scene, and this is something I've dreamt about as a kid. Wasn't the kid sitting on a bed, and those little bastards just go. They come out of nowhere, and I remember that creeping me out. Was that at the very end of the movie, or
that was a dream sequence? I
dream
think
sequence,
mid movie. Yeah.
Those little creepy bastards. Like somebody was saying, they look like something from Star Wars, Ewoks or whatever.
It looks like Jawas. Yeah.
Jawas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jawas, did they not show up till the third Star Wars movie? So technically, these things came before those, right?
Wrong.
No,
Jawas.
Wrong.
They were part of the first one, right? New Hope, because they were in the desert, right?
Yeah, 77. So I guess 2 years predate, but they look really close, though. They really do.
like almost like sued material.
Yeah, like they totally just bought the robes from Lucas to make this film.
So let me ask you guys this before we move on to the next film, and I'll in the chat, guys, do me a favor. I want to get a median. Brandon, get your pen and paper ready. Start writing down on a 10 scale what you would give the first fan. I'm kidding, Brandon. You really don't have to do that. Start giving me a 10 scale. What you would rate Phantasm. Go. Let me just ask you guys a yes or no question before we give our answer on this. Is this the best performance showing of the tall man? Yes or no?
No.
No.
I think
you think
so.
it is? Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Garrett, I'm assuming. Go ahead. I don't want to assume anything. What would you rate the original Phantasm?
We've talked about ratings before and how we rate, and Brandon rates, and everybody rates a little bit different. I'm
do it how you want it. Do how you want.
Very critical on
I am
rating.
too.
So I mean, I'm gonna say a 9 out of 10 if that's what we're gonna go to 10.
Okay.
And I don't give many things 10s. I don't even know what I would give a 10, to be honest with you. But I think maybe one movie I knew I would probably give it 10. But this, I think for me, this is probably a 9.
Brandon, what are you thinking? We got a 9, 9, 8, 10, 10. We got high rating, Brandon. High rating so far.
Yeah, for me, it's probably a 7.5. On my scale, that equates to worthy of a rewatch.
That's about a 7.5 on you.
Okay. This. Wait a minute. Wait,
Brandon,
what's your top thing called? Crystal Skull or something?
Crystal
Skull is beyond a 10.
Okay, so can you just throw me a movie really quick that got a crystal skull and this one got like a rewatch?
Gremlins 2 is a crystal skull, right?
What else?
You're wrong. Jason Lives got a crystal skull.
Holy Jesus.
That's Brandon's favorite movie, right?
The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre gets a crystal skull.
Okay,
and its sequel.
Man.
Yeah. The Exorcist would get a crystal skull.
Crystal Rage.
But what happened?
Slime City, Shock 'em Dead, we get a crystal skull. Stuff like that. Really high quality stuff.
Slime City coming in hot with that slime, bro.
Oh yeah.
I love
it. And with another $2 super chat, thank you so much. Do you think Don will ever release a new cut? I think it's possible.
I think at this point, Don is trying to milk this movie as much as he can, which is a good thing. But at the same time, it's like, whatever you got, man. Like let's get it out there. Because
how old is he I don't know. Now?
Isn't 60?
He's only 69. I thought he was older than that.
He was a kid when he made Phantasm,
but he looks.
I thought he'd be like 80.
Man. He looks great for 60.
Yeah, I think that, and let me get, because I don't want to spend too much more time on Phantasm, but we're going to talk about this in a second. And thank you so much for the clip. Let me give you just a quick one.
It's fucking fantastic.
All right. Thank you so much and appreciate that. I'm gonna give it a 8. First Phantasm. Great movie. So sometimes I'll talk about on videos stuff I want to get 4Ks of, stuff I would like to get a new release of. Now I can't remember what it was. It wasn't some kind of bullshit website, but the reason Phantasm got a 4K remaster and was put out on Blu-ray was because there was new technology being created to restore film, and Phantasm was picked as the movie to basically test this equipment out, or to test this new technology to remaster. Because if you think about it, Phantasm came out as a 4K really before the normalization of everything becoming a negative remaster standard, I feel like. Because this was 2016, about 2015, 2016, maybe 2017. I know it was pre-2017 for sure. But so I read that was the case. but it never came out on 4K. So apparently, I know now because enough people corrected me about it. Phantasm does have a 4K, but it's not. Oh, well, hold on. Well, there we go.
J.J. Abrams headed the 4K release of Phantasm 1.
Yes, he did.
There you go.
It's his favorite movie, apparently. And
hold on, look at this thing, man. I'm sorry,
that?
That's a German media book.
It's
that's pretty sweet. Can you hold that closer? I want to see the cover of that thing.
Brian, I want to.
Dude, he looks batshit insane.
But yeah, J.J. Abrams was the head of that whole thing with the remaster on this. So this is an actual 4K now. But I'm gonna say that remastered looked unbelievable. Like for if you guys haven't seen that in comparison to what we're used to seeing.
Oh wait,
that thing looks so freaking clean, man.
I do have the 4K of that.
I remember getting that Blu-ray. It was like holy shit, guys.
You know that Oh, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Just really quick, guys. 130. Please, I'm begging you. I don't want to be a jackass tonight.
Hit the damn like button.
130 people in here. We got 82 likes. Just hit the fucking button. All right, go ahead, Brandon.
I hate to bring this up, but the Star Wars sequel trilogy, the character of Captain Phasma in episode 7 and 8, she was based on the metallic Sentinel spheres because J.J. Abrams loved the spheres and that movie so much. That's so crazy. Like
JJ is a big Larry Cohen fan as well, which gave me all the respect in the world to JJ. You know, I remember there's a documentary, Brandon. It's called King Cohen. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's incredible. As a matter of fact, I got to see if it's got a Blu-ray so I can buy it. And it opens up with J.J. Abrams holding the It's Alive baby. And he goes, I bought this on eBay years ago. I fucking love Larry Cohen. He's my hero. And so he opened up the documentary. So he's awesome. I do. You're jogging my memory. I do remember that JJ was involved in that. So I don't know. I'd like to see Phantasm get an American release. I'm assuming what Garrett has is difficult to get now. But quite frankly, I mean, that is gorgeous. You almost I wish like media books. It's funny. I want to say it's a dead thing, but guess what? Stigmata is getting one all of a sudden from Welgo, not Welgo
Umbrella.
USA, from No, from
Oh, they're doing another. Somebody else is doing another one.
Dark Sky is doing it.
Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah, Dark Sky is putting out a media book release and a Blu-ray release. But other than that, I feel like it's a dead kind of thing. Like it used to kind of be a thing for a little bit in America, but not anymore. But I like that Phantasm a lot, and that artwork was dynamite.
I think that they need to. I think Don Coscarelli needs to try somebody else in the States here to distribute this movie because he's still with Welgo, and that's where this set came from that we were showing, which is it's a gorgeous set, no doubt. Everything's got its own little disc in here. It's very, very good, but Welgo's a tough one because it's like I feel like Phantasm's like one of their only titles and like that they keep putting out. It's not something that you see all the time. Arrow has it in the UK. They've been putting stuff out, but I would love to see another company give this a shot. And I'm thinking we might because the last time Welgo released Phantasm was kind of a nightmare. And I know Coscarelli was pretty pissed about that. So I don't know if that severed his
I want to talk about that
relationship with them at all. But I think that maybe if he gave the reins to someone like Arrow here in the States, that we might see a pretty sick 4K set or something like that come out.
Yeah, Welgo USA really dropped the ball. Now I was telling people now if you want to get that Phantasm 1 and 2 pack, now it's you're safe. You're safe, but I got it, and we'll talk about the next one, and then we'll get there. So, guys, I was looking at the comments. Brandon, I'm gonna say the median for Phantasm is a 9 because there's a lot of 10s and there's a lot of 8s, and I'm gonna split the difference. That's the majority of what I see, so I'm gonna give Phantasm a 9 on everything. We're gonna move on. So this is what we're talking about. So Garrett, all of a sudden you're a kid, and you probably remember hearing about this, seeing a poster of this. Now, Garrett, this is what's interesting to me. How many times has this happened? So they hire some guy at Universal to be a head of some division. He's this higher up guy in Universal says, I'm a big horror fan. I'm just going to start buying Child's Play. MGM's scared as hell of this damn doll. Let's get that. Let's get that. Let's get Phantasm. I mean, this came out of nowhere. What was it? 9 years later?
Yeah,
8 years later?
It was like 9 years later. Yeah. I think so. It came out in what, 88?
88.
Yeah.
You know?
It was a long time, you know. It's weird because I don't know for sure if they ever planned on a sequel. I would assume with that much distance, I would say no. But at the same time, you know, they kept pumping these suckers out. That's for sure. But yeah, I know what you're going to go with when they started the big studio started making some big decisions, and
Yeah,
you know, it kind of hurt the franchise to the core audience at first. But I think people now have come around.
Yeah, Brandon. Let me start with you, Brandon. Phantasm 2.
I caught Phantasm 2 in the middle of its runtime on some kind of TV. I'm not sure if it was like a sci-fi presentation, like during one of their 90s October. Remember they used to do the October sci-fi Halloween marathons? I'm not sure if they still do that, but I'm pretty sure Phantasm 2 was one of them. I remember being very confused because at this point, I had already seen the VHS, the first movie, hadn't gone back to the series, and I was really confused about what was going on. I never actually saw the whole film until sometime in the 2000s when I actually rented it. And I was still pretty confused because I hadn't seen the first film in quite a while. I was confused by the casting of Roach instead of A. Michael. What is his name? A. Michael.
Hey, Michael Baldwin.
Yeah.
I got a funny story about when I met him at a convention. I'll tell later.
I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed it, but it was very, it was just bizarre. I know it's pretty much become like the fan favorite, right? Is that what the word on the street is? But
well, I can jump in, Brandon. I'm gonna tell you right now what I.
Why did they replace A. Michael?
It's all documented, brother. It's all documented. I'm gonna tell you straight up what I think. All right.
Let's go.
To me, this is hands down the best Phantasm film.
I knew it.
And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I see people in the chat say, some people are saying, yeah, it's a little too shiny. It doesn't have the feel of the first movie. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. Coscarelli is a director that clearly needs direction, whether it be from people above him or a Bruce Campbell, who's very stern about how long he's going to be on set. Look at Bubba Hotep. I mean, that movie is very clear, concise. I like Bubba Hotep. And I guarantee you Campbell kept Coscarelli in line. Coscarelli needed pressure and guidance to make a film like Phantasm 2. To me, it's clearly the best one. I think the studio, I've read stories and articles from people on set through Fangoria over the years. Universal had to tell him no for a lot of stuff, guys. I was reading, it was probably 2016 or 17 in a Horror Hound magazine. I was reading this article that Coscarelli kept throwing these insane ideas into the story, and Universal would be like, no, like, you can't do this. This has nothing to do with, they were trying to make him create a storyline for this film, right? And I love that Coscarelli likes to do all kinds of crazy stuff, but in this case, I got to be honest, I side with Universal 1,000%. I think putting Coscarelli on a leash, giving him time, a certain amount of time, certain amount of money, and forcing him to keep some sort of direction was absolutely, I'm going to use a Triple H quote, best for business. I really do. I think this movie looks extremely polished, and I love it. I mean, to me, the movie is a metaphor for the actual sphere. It's a polished looking sphere. And I think the scene of the tall man walking out of that house when it fucking bursts into flames is iconic. I think this is Angus's best movie, his best performance, his best lines. When he says, when you think you die, you go to heaven, you come to us. It gave me chill bumps. And the guy who plays the priest in this film that he has a cool death scene with the sphere. He just has this creepy look to him. He makes me uneasy, uncomfortable. And the funny thing is that guy's an atheist in real life. So it's funny seeing him play. He talked about him playing the priest. Don't really have an issue with them recasting A. Michael Baldwin. I'm going to call a spade again. Reggie's the star. It's not A. Michael. Just come on. Reggie is a star. You take Reggie out of this film, oh God. Because his scene, the stuff that is, and the scene where he's got this weird sex scene where the girl keeps rubbing her head, like, that's just funny. It's kind of pseudo weird. I don't know what they were kind of going for now. Sometimes I feel uncomfortable watching it. Sometimes I laugh my ass off. But I think giving this guy a little bit of money and direction was the best thing. And to me, the series just kind of went downhill after this. I'm not saying I disliked the films after this, but to me, hands down, no doubt in my mind, this is the absolute best Phantasm film. And the scene where there's this slug thing that comes out the girl's back, and the girl was cute as hell. I liked her. She during this late '80s, it was the blonde era, right? You got Ellie Cornell, you got Lisa Wilcox. Well, she had blonde hair in 5, but then you had Tuesday Night, and in this mill, you got the blonde haired girl. And you could swap them in all these movies. They could have all been in these movies because they all, had the same kind of look to them. But it worked. And the guy that played Michael, I have no issue with him. He is kind of strange looking. I agree. He's kind of got like this, like kind of his face is kind of strong when you see his face. But I thought he was fine.
It's Roach from Point Break, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And this is what's really cool about Phantasm I was reading about. There's a scene where you see Reggie and Michael walking through a graveyard with empty plots, like dug up graves. And when you see it, especially on a blown up TV, you see it, and it's like, holy shit, that's incredible. How long did it take him to dig all those graves? And then he says, no, we didn't dig. Coscarelli is like, we didn't dig graves. We just kind of pushed down on the ground and put plastic bags right there. And to give you illusion that they're these bottomless pits. It's gorgeous. To me, this is, I'm going to shut up about it, but to me, hands down, this is the absolute best Phantasm movie, without question. Best ending, just everything about it. It's a special effects movie. I love it. So there we go. That's my 2 cents.
I've grown to love it. I didn't like it at first. I think the Michael Baldwin not being in it really threw me off at the beginning. I had it on VHS. But yeah, I see why they did it. Universal had it. They wanted to, I think they probably just thought he was an ugly little bastard and they wanted to get someone a little bit more handsome in the role. I'm almost positive that's probably why. I mean, I don't know if it was an age thing, because I mean, you got to think about it. He would have been a decent enough age at 9 years later or whatever. Yeah. So I think it was probably they wanted someone like that. Brad Pitt auditioned to be Mike. Like, think about where that could have went, right? Like he auditioned to be Mike. They chose James instead. And I don't know if they thought this kid had a big future, because he kind of had like that, that look of that time, the hair, and I've grown to like this a lot. I think that it works. It doesn't bother me about the Mike thing now. It bothers me more that like we switched back, because that kind of like throws some stuff off a little bit. But what I like about this whole franchise, and I've got to give Coscarelli a lot of credit for, not enough movies do it, is he really tried to make this one giant story. So like every movie almost like leads into the other one. The beginning of this one is like from the old one, and the same with 3. Like he really tried to make this one big story, even though it was so many years later, he still tried to make it connect, which I appreciate that, because I'm really big when it comes to continuity, and I think that more movies need to do this, where they will try to connect the movies a little bit better to make it all seem, like it flows well. So I really appreciate that. And Phantasm, the first one was so long, and I don't know if that's the cut people are talking about, and there was so much deleted footage that he ended up using all this footage in all the other movies to make it all work. And that's why we got, a lot of those scenes with the other Mike in there, because he had all this footage that he was splicing into these movies. And we'll talk about that way more when we get to 4. But I mean, it was incredible that he had so much unused footage for the first one that he was able to throw all that stuff in there into these ones, and make it all kind of connect and do some kind of like, they went back in time and all this other junk too. So I like Phantasm too. I think that I wouldn't put it as high as the first one. But I think when it comes to the sequels, this to me and 3 are pretty neck and neck for me.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I love about this movie too is it's so 80s, even in the sense of the music. That instead of that dun dun dun, like the theme, which I love it. In 2, it's fucking like it's got the synths, and then it's massive. I love it, and yeah, I just think that Angus Scrimm was a monster in this movie, and it seemed like he was down for anything. Oh yeah, cast my face, do stuff where I start melting in my eyes and green goo. Let's go for it, and the mausoleum in 2, and I just love it. I remember watching Phantasm 2 for the first time. I kind of had some of the feelings you're describing where I was like, I kind of like the kid in the first one, but I couldn't deny it to myself. I was like, man, this movie is just fucking balls to the wall. And it's just kick ass. And I love Reggie in this one too. So I love this movie, man. When it comes to late 80s horror, to me, I put Phantasm 2 at one of the best. It's just so damn good. It would have been cool if Pitt would have been in it, but it also,
I think it would have brought more prestige to the movie, like now.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
than it would have mattered back then. But I think, like, looking back on it, people were like, "Oh yeah, that movie he was in with in the '80s, that horror movie," which they do for Cutting Class. But Phantasm 2 is a way better movie than Cutting Class is.
I agree. Really quick, Ann gave me a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. To this day, I can't figure out how the Phantasm 2 opening fits into the whole continuity. Gotta love the triple ambiguity. Neither does Don. He may be able to explain it, but
well, it was like I said, it was all this footage that they had because the
Yeah.
first one was so huge that they were just like, okay, well, we'll just make this connect here.
I mean, I take it, and I'm not trying to start an argument, but I take it you guys may not agree with me on this. I personally think Don, under pressure, with restrictions and guidance, was honestly better for him. Because if you leave him to his own devices, if you think you can't explain Phantasm 2, how would you explain the sequel? I'm not saying you can, but
I mean, they're still very hard to really, really explain, I think. And I think and he wanted that. He wanted it to be a way where it can be interpreted very differently. So he wanted to make sure it was kind of a little bit open-ended, like, why is this happening? What's going on?
yeah.
And I think they still were able to kind of keep that going. But I think another thing with Phantasm, like you said, the music, this is even for all of them across the board, the effects are great, man. The effects,
They're
and
sensational in two.
what they did with the ball and how they started having different mannerisms and stuff, like with eyeballs and all this other shit, brains and stuff. Like it gave the sphere kind of a life of its own. I have mine here.
Nice.
So it kind of gave it like a life of its own, and I kind of really, really appreciate that. And this is, I think this was done by a company, I'm pretty sure Nightmares Unlimited or something maybe, but they have so many different ones now. Like, you could get the one with the eyeball, you could get the one with the brain and stuff like that. But I mean, this is solid metal. Like, if I threw this at somebody, it could kill them. Like,
do they sell the gold sphere? Anybody sell the gold one?
I'm sure that they probably do, man. I'm sure that they probably do. Oh, you have the two, bud?
That's
I got
nice.
the Buddy Tip one. I think we have the same maker, but I
Probably
think
is.
Sydney got this years ago, back in 2013.
Are they
And,
metal?
dude? It's heavy
this
as fuck.
Is just, yours is sharp in the front, right? Like, this would kill somebody if you threw
Really?
this up.
Jeez,
Yes, it's
that's
sharp.
That's hardcore.
Dude,
That's a
it's
real
heavy.
screw right there.
I gotta shine mine up.
Yeah, me too. I'm seeing all fingerprints on it. Right?
Do you guys see right there? That's my Creation X tall man bust.
I love that.
Oh,
man.
nice.
Yeah, I don't know if he offers that anymore, but it's the real deal.
It's gonna put that Trick or Treat Studios to shame, that's for sure, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that you ain't beat. I mean, he's got it's a suit and tie on him.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude. I love it.
This movie also has the distinction of being one of the it's probably in the first 4 or 5 months of Scream Factory being a company, maybe a little longer than that, but it was a Scream Factory Blu-ray brand, and it came out and it was gone like that. Went out of print fast. The only way I own it is somehow Wellgo managed to get Scream Factory to license it to them, because this is from the Wellgo set, but as you can see, it's Scream Factory.
Yeah.
So it's got the making of in here where Angus was still alive, and he was up and at 'em at that point still. So he was talking about the movie and giving good interviews, and yeah. And
so funny story about sorry, man.
No, go ahead.
Phantasm 2 is I had the VHS, but that was the only way to get that movie for a long time. So like I brought a couple things out. Like, so I had this Anchor Bay DVD, I had the MGM DVD, then they had the Phantasm 3,
Lord of the Dead, yeah.
Then they had Oblivion, and then all of a sudden, then this finally came out in like a real bare bones edition. This
I have
Phantasm
that
2, right?
I have that,
and it came out way later. Like, this came out well after all these were readily available. But before that came out, I had to get this bad boy to be able to see that movie on DVD, and that was this Anchor Bay Sphere set, which is like one of my favorite sets that I have. This is the first time it was ever.
You got to take that out. I've never seen anybody actually show that before.
It's huge. Yeah, I can take it out. But that I had to go to the UK to get this thing.
You
back
flew
in the
there?
day. Flew right there to get it. I think it was the first time I ever used like eBay UK or something. It comes with like a little book.
Oh man! And this has all 4.
Yep.
Doesn't Arrow put out box sets of those movies too?
They did. Arrow does have some Sphere box sets, but the only thing I didn't like about this, but I guess at the time they had to, like, look at the size of the ball
It's
in
big.
comparison to like the other one.
Where's the blades?
They're in the bottom. You have to put them on, and it has like a little stand and stuff. So you have to snap them in. They go right here.
Oh, okay.
So they're just at the bottom. But then when you open this up, it's got the discs like that.
Oh, that would throw
Sadly.
Brandon into a fit of rage.
Yeah, look at that.
That's worse than a steelbook for him.
At least they're kind of protected. It's like a foam. They're like
Yeah.
a foam thing. Yeah, at least that's better than just being like in the sleeves.
See, I would ask you, why don't you just kind of display it on the shelf? But the art on the side of the box is kind of the coolest thing about it.
Yeah, and I used to have it displayed, but then when I got this one, I don't know if yours does, but this came in like a glass case, so with a stand and all that stuff. So this is in like a glass case in my room. So this one just kind of sits in the box again. But it used to be displayed before I got that thing. And then this comes with a stand and like the little blades and stuff like that. But it was the only way to get Phantasm 2 for a long, long time. And that's why I remember snagging this thing.
Yeah, I guess I was lucky and I was able to get all the Phantasms on DVD by the time 2 had come out. Because like I said, this was 2010, 11. So I'm assuming Phantasm 2 had already been out by that point for a little while.
2010, 11. Yeah, I think that it probably came out in maybe like 08, 09 maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Screen Factory got it right away, and that was a big one for them.
Look, you can even tell that box is vintage. Look at it. Just the way it sounds, you know? Look at the artwork on this. That's what I'm saying. The artwork on the side's the coolest part.
This was a very sought after piece for a long, long time.
Oh yeah.
I'm backwards, but yeah, that's the Anchor Bay Sphere, the first Sphere set they did, and Arrow's done them since. I actually don't own any of the other Sphere sets at all, so I don't have any of them.
So Brandon or Garrett, do y'all have anything else to add to Phantasm 2? Because God knows I've given it hell on Phantasm 2. You ready to move on?
What did you give it as a score?
I didn't yet. I was gonna say if you guys had anything else about the movie you wanted to add before. If that's the case, chat, drop your rating for 2, Phantasm 2. I'm gonna get the median score, and Garrett's gonna start us off with his Crystal Skull
Phantasm
scale.
2.
Come on, man. You know it's
7.
You know it's
7.
You know it's fucking good, dude.
We'll get 7 on it.
7.
Oh yeah.
I'm probably gonna go with 7 too. It's the movie I've seen the least out of all 5. I've seen this one the least. I need to go back and reassess it again, but 7 feels right because I think I like the first movie better, and I gave that a 7.5.
Yeah.
So
it's a 9 for me. I love it.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. It's a 9.
But why not a 10?
For the reasons that kind of Garrett has. My issue is, as I gotten older, I've gotten more strict on my scale. If there's something I love and I just give it a 10, like I'm saying, I can't say, you know what though, guys, like honestly, like I really love King Hodder's Ed Gein movie he did. I know it's not great, but to me it's a 10. Like I'm saying that movie is as good as The Shining or Texas Chainsaw Massacre now. And I stopped myself. So I'm really strict on my ratings too. I'm getting stricter as I get older, you know, because I don't know, I start to notice the trends on things more and stuff like that. So I can't give it a 10.
Look how Garrett froze, dude.
Is he frozen?
I think so. Garrett, are you frozen? Or are you holding that pose? He's frozen. Dude, that's the best. Dude, someone screenshot this right now. That's horrifying.
Oh, man. Brandon, you gave it a 7 as well?
I think so. I really want to rewatch it, but I didn't get a chance to reassess it this week when I watched all the other ones because it wasn't on Tubi or Netflix or anything else. I don't have the Blu-ray. So, dude, it's so good. Oh man,
boy. Let's see, Brandon. He'll be back. He'll be back. 6, 7.5, 9, 8, 7, 8, 7, 8, 9, 7, 6, 9.5. I'm gonna say that the median's probably gonna be 7 for this too.
Yeah.
So you guys are on the mark. I'm high on this. Brandon, while we wait for Garrett to come back, let's play the T-shirt clip one more time, and I'll drop the link down there. T-shirts are $16, guys. Here we go.
Go bye.
You think you die when you go to heaven. Not if you're watching this show, you ignorant bastards. Available now for a limited time only is the Planet Dirty Phantasm shirts. You'll be beating the ladies or men off with a stick wearing this shirt. Order now or Brandon will move to Wyoming and live naked and afraid for several years.
Garrett, you froze and like
Dude.
the best smile. We were. It was funny.
As soon as you said Ed Gein was like a 10, my whole system crashed. It was crazy. It just shut my shit right down.
Do not compute.
Yeah, it just shut right down.
Oh man, why Wyoming? I don't know. That's just the script I made and sent it to Cody to record for me. And says Don Coscarelli pulled an Alien 3 with Liz. Thumbs up or thumbs down? I guess we can get into it. Let's see, Brandon. Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. Take it away, Brandon. Because here's the thing about Phantasm 3. I'm just going to say this, Brandon. I feel like I can't remember certain things about Phantasm 3. I'm not saying it's forgettable. I've watched it probably 10 or 11 times. But what is the most memorable thing about this film to you? Like, honestly, what is memorable about Phantasm 3?
I think the stuff about Reggie getting sexually is hilarious. It's hilarious. He just gets C-blocked the whole movie. It's hilarious. But I don't know. I think Phantasm 3 is fantastic. I like it better than 1 and 2.
No, whoa.
I do.
Whoa.
Absolutely like it better than 1 and 2. Not afraid to say it.
Do you like the 90s feel?
I don't know what it is about it. I think the opening scene that kind of picks up right after part 2 is hilarious because there's still some shots from part 2 and you can see Roach in them, but like his back is turned for a split second, so it's not him.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't tell that's not A. Michael, whatever the hell his name is. But and then it just goes directly from part 2 onward. And this is where the series sort of really became the road movie, right? Because part 3, 4, they're basically just desert road movies at that point, right? So
I agree with that, the mausoleum. But Brandon, I mean, don't you think, is this the only time in movie history where somebody has been recasted and then taken back and casted back in the original? Is this the only time in movie history this has happened? Maybe not, but I'm sure
there's something else I'm at the tip of my tongue.
Corey Feldman, Ninja Turtles.
There you go. That's a good example.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, that's just the voice, but I mean, at the same time, it is weird to see that, like, because that does make the second one kind of stick out like a sore thumb sometimes because they go back to Michael Baldwin. And it's funny because even like the first shot of him in the movie, like you said, you see the back of him, but then all of a sudden they get up to the car and his face comes up, hey, or whatever, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's him, you know, like they kind of almost make it a little bit of a surprise, like to the audience when his face is the one that pops out in the back seat or whatever. But it's definitely, this has a different feel. This is like it got very action packed.
Yeah.
As we started to get into part 3, which I didn't hate. I actually think part 3 is a lot of fun. I know part 3, in my opinion, is kind of a love-hate with a lot of people. I think.
I love Reggie in it. I think Reggie's so damn fun in 3 and 4. And I think the stuff with the little kid is bizarre. He's like held up in the house and like he turns the 3 people into like zombies. It's batshit insane. I love it. Part 3 is so damn fun.
Well, Garrett, let me ask you this, Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that this was a straight-to-video movie, and does it feel like a straight-to-video movie? Because those are two different things.
Actually, to be honest, I didn't know that until
you know what I mean?
now, and it doesn't. To me, it doesn't feel like it. And I think that, I mean, I see it now. I can kind of feel like this could be something on Sci-Fi or whatever. But like, I didn't know that back then. I thought this was something that was in the theaters. I think that this was like 94. So with the little kid aspect, I'm like, okay, maybe they brought the kid back in because now Mike's older. Reggie can interact with kind of a younger kid like he did in part 1 where Mike was the little kid. And then I think with Home Alone being hot, I think that they probably added a little bit to that with this kid having all the traps. Because I mean, they literally did the same thing where he swings the thing down the stairs and belts the guys in the face with it, right? It was a little more violent in this, but it was some of the same traps that Kevin had. And it's funny because I loved it so much. I hunted this down back in the day and I brought it to show you guys.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
This was the frisbee that the kid threw. It had the blades, but this obviously doesn't have blades. But this was the actual frisbee that he used, an '80s shredder. Except they had like little razor blades around it, and when it sliced the guy. But I hunted this down back in the day because I was such a big Phantasm mark. I was like, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna find that frisbee, and sure enough, I did. And I like the movie a lot.
I think the tall man is better here than he was in part 2 and 1 also. I'll just say that.
He's great, but
I like the groove he got into in part 3 and part 4. And the fact that he looks so much older than he did in part 1 and 2 also. I just like the way, I don't know, there's something about him in these movies.
You don't realize how much different he looks until they start doing flashback scenes, because to me, the tall man always looked the same. And then all of a sudden, I think
he's an old guy, yeah.
Flashback scene of him, like when he's walking around the town and he breathes in the cold air, and you're like, like black hair. You know, now it's been white for 2 movies.
Both of his eyes were open. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was strange because I saw that again. I was like, oh, wow, he looked way different in part 1. You know, I always think of him with gray hair. Like even when I got him.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
My question is this also, and I feel like it was brought up in this movie, but not the other sequels. I might be wrong, but in this movie, I feel like didn't not Reggie, damn it, Mike has a revelation saying the tall man doesn't like the cold, right?
Yes.
But that scene in the first movie, I always felt like he was experiencing ecstasy when he breathed in the cold air. So that was so weird to me that he was like, he hates the cold. Like, what?
Yeah, I didn't know that was what I didn't know that showed that he hated the cold either until I saw the flashback. Like, I just thought maybe, I didn't really know what he was doing there. I thought, like you said, I think actually it looked more like that. Like he enjoyed it.
He likes the morgue or, like dead people. I figured the cold he liked.
Right.
I guess, was the red planet hot or something or whatever the fuck?
I don't know. But I mean, I think it was a nice callback at least, like that they're still using things that came out in like the late 70s in part 1 for the story in 1994. And I think that, like I said, with continuity and the callbacks and the flashbacks of all these new scenes that we never saw before, I think really makes this franchise kind of special and stand out, because we were able to see new stuff from part 1 that was never shown through flashbacks on these older movies. And it just really, to me, it always just felt like it was all one big long story. And I do appreciate that. But another thing I think is pretty cool is, with the tall man's really getting his groove. Like that was so sick when they like thought he killed him, and then that like he came out of the dimension, and then it took the dead body, it threw it in, and then it's like he's like back. It's like it's just so cool. It's so different, It's, and then there's more questions like, what the hell is he then?
That's going to play into my Ravager argument also, what you just said about the dead body being thrown into the
He's so ready for Ravager. He's ready to throw down on Ravager. I like it's I like 3. I really do. I guess it's just the timing of 2 and the style. I love that style. I'm so into that era. I guess I love how. I guess for me, 3 just started to feel like Coscarelli was like let off his leash, and I just get confused. And I didn't mind the kid. I really didn't. There were some good-looking broads I remember in 3. But there's something about 2 to me that it's just so White Snake. It's just so
I get it.
I need to
like
reassess
so
too.
and in this one you kind of lose that a little bit, but it's still kind of there. But yeah, and I don't know how to feel about Michael Baldwin. It's interesting because Universal says he wasn't that he's like, hey, he's not going to cut it. You can keep one of them, and we got to have a serious actor. We have to have somebody in this movie. And to be honest with you, I almost feel like Michael Baldwin is like as good as an actor as Reggie at that point. Anyway, that's how I feel. So so I don't. I'm glad that he was back, but at the end of the day, maybe I say to myself, they probably could have just kept him in 2 as well.
They probably could have. I mean, I don't know. Does anybody know? Did he have any substance issues at that time? You know what I mean? Was there anything that we don't know about? Or was it just kind of like, he's not really a good actor anymore as he's getting older? Because I thought he was a pretty decent actor as a young kid.
From what I understand, in the special features of 2 on the Scream Factory one, I think Coscarelli said Universal didn't want to use both of them because I think neither one of them had done a whole lot of acting since then, maybe not anything. And so they're like, we need somebody with chops that can help bring up the other one instead of having like we have time, we can't take 1,000 takes on stuff. Because I'm sure like with the first one, I have no doubt they were doing a shitload of takes. I mean, how much footage is there supposed to be for part 1? I think he could have made like a 6-hour movie, according to what people. So
easy.
I think that's why. But I don't think Michael had done a lot of acting since the first one.
Yeah,
has he been in
Addict says they wanted someone who was more of a working actor. And Michael Baldwin, has he been in anything?
He's been in some random ass things here and there. I remember when I met him in 14, he had a poster on the back with like Michael Baldwin from blah blah blah, and it was Phantasm 1, 3, 4, and then like this random ass little movie that I'd never heard of from that probably came out 2 or 3 years before that, and that was it, and that was on his table. So I don't think he's done a lot of
I'm
anything.
looking at his thing right now. So his first movie was Kenny and Company, which again, me and Wes from Dead Pit talk highly of this movie. It's a really good coming of age story. It was from 1976. He was the main star, him and another kid. So then he went from that, went right to Phantasm. Then we didn't see him again until Phantasm 3, Phantasm 4, Ravager. So he's only done Phantasm's Kenny and Company. And then he did a movie called Pickaxe. He was in a movie called Flay in 2019. In 1997, he was in a movie called Vice Girls, which I don't know what that is, but he didn't do anything until part 3. So yeah, he did take a lot of time off as far as it seems through his IMDb.
That's probably it. That's probably it. Brandon, let me ask the chat first. All right, chat, go ahead, because this is going to be interesting to me. I feel like I'm seesawing with not only you guys, but at the chat as well. I feel like more people have said they like 3 than 2, which is just interesting to me. Chat, 10 scale, part 3. Garrett, you go first. I'm going to say Brandon, because Brandon's going to say something wacko for this. Garrett, you're probably going to give this one a 6.
I was going to say 6.5.
Okay.
For me. But you know what? You actually made a really, really good point. And I think this, you look at the timeline of these movies, and I feel like part 1 feels 70s, part 2 feels 80s, part 3 does feel 90s. Like it does have like a 90s horror vibe. 90s horror is interesting because it went through kind of weird transition time. And like you said, it felt, part 2 felt very Whitesnake. So if I look at this, and no disrespect because I love all these albums, but I'm just saying, to me, it's like, part 2 could be like Cherry Pie from Warrant, and part 3 could be like Dog Eat Dog, right? Like it's still a great album, but at the same time, it's so different. Of like the sound is like it had that 90s, like Dog Eat Dog doesn't sound 80s to me. That sounds Alice in Chains. Like they were
Mhm.
trying to kind of fit into that mold and that mix.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I do feel that you're right on where it feels like you said that part 2 out of all of them feel the most polished. So I would say 6.5 for this. It's close with 2 for me.
There you go. I'm gonna give 3 just a little low. I'm gonna give it a 6. And Brandon, before you go, I want to look at the chat because I'm seeing 7, 8, 7, 9, 7, 7, 6, 8. Looks like the median for this one's gonna be a little higher, maybe 7.5. We got some pretty high rankings in there. Brandon, I mean, when it comes to Phantasm 3, I mean, you're probably sitting somewhere between a 6.5, 7.
It's an 8.5 for me.
Okay, I was trying to see how big of a
Because
catapult you were gonna
If
do.
the first one was a 7.5, the second was a 7. This is probably an 8, maybe an 8. I'll say 8. That seems more.
What did you give the first one?
I gave it a 7.5,
And you gave 2.
a 7.
It's bullshit.
I'm actually very shocked that you find this one your favorite out of the 3.
I do too. I just it throws me off because you strike me as the 80s
Well, again,
guy too.
I haven't seen the second one that many times. I need to reassess it. I didn't have a chance to this week, so that might change. I might like text you guys next week and be like, "Holy shit, I love part 2. It's the best thing on the planet." But
It's
as
a
it
rock
stands
concert,
now,
dude.
part 3 it flows so easily and it feels so fun. It does lose a bit of the horror element. I get it, because it becomes sort of a desert road movie in its essence, but it's just so much fun.
We should
And
just
so
start
wacky and bizarre.
a new thing right now where like Brandon's just like such a big Michael Baldwin fan that like, you know, he kind of shits on too. So that's like he could be his gimmick, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like,
And again, I think the tall man is just
I
in
gotta go
top
grab something
form
real
in
quick.
this and part 4. The tall man is just so damn good.
Baldwin is butter, dude, according to you. Like that's
He
how
is.
good he is.
Garrett, did you ever find the tall man to be like legitimately scary though, or did you just think he was cool?
I thought
I
he
had
was
friends-
scary in his own way. Like, I mean, it's funny because when there was one scene where he gives like a backhand and you could tell it was like kind of like an old man backhand. Like it wasn't really like fierce or aggressive, but at the same time, it had that almost kind of like Nosferatu vibe or something. Like he was like this big, tall, gangly guy. So I always thought he was creepy, rather than cool. Like, I think the idea of it is cool because I mean, it's just some tall, skinny old man that's supposed to be like this big icon, scary heart. So I do see it from both ends, but I always thought he was creepy. Oh, that looks good.
See what you did there?
Oh man. So
oh shit. That was the perfect inflection and everything.
it was great. On my first Texas Frightmare, I went to see Michael Baldwin. And I had him sign my CED of Phantasm, which the artwork on the CED is insane.
Yeah.
Because it's so big.
That's beauty.
And there's the back.
You should frame that sucker. Is that the same size as like a record or no?
It's a little bit bigger. It's an actual record inside of here because the
But
format...
I mean, would it fit into like a record album frame or no?
No, it's too big.
Yeah,
it's
that's
too
trippy.
big. But I went to go meet him. I'll tell a story really quick. And it's my first convention. And luckily, I went into 2014, I feel, was like the last year before everybody and their mama became a horror fan, right? So it was still kind of cult in a good way. And so I was able to kind of walk up pretty close to him. And I go up to Michael's table. His wife is there. His kid is crying, hysterically crying. The mom's
Michael Baldwin's kid.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
He's fighting with his wife and they're bickering with each other. He's looking at the kid saying like this, and he gets up, he looks at me, he goes, 1 second. And he goes back to yelling at the kid and everything. And then, he's just like, it was just really awkward. Then I always have an icebreaker and I give people this. So if you want to use this when you go to a convention, my icebreaker is I always feel like I'm going to stumble my words if I just try to say, hey, such I really love blah, 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 blah movie. And everybody says that. So I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. My icebreaker is always, hey, Michael, I'm looking, which picture is your favorite? I'm having trouble deciding which one I'd like. And that gets them to say, oh, you know what? I remember doing this scene was really cool, blah, blah. And that's my icebreaker.
You are a salesman, dude. I love it.
I
I love it. I respect it, dude. I love it. I mean, I think that's really cool. My buddy has a line that he says when we go to conventions, and yours is way better than his.
Yeah.
He always walks up to somebody and he says, "Hey, man, you're the reason I came." And like he says it to like everybody. So I've been for a while. Like, you can't tell everybody they're the reason you came. I'm like,
I bet does he say it loud enough for the person right next to him? But he was just in line here.
That's his big thing. Like, you're the reason I came here.
Yeah. But I got his autograph and he signed my CED. And I remember after I got it done, Sydney was like, "Christian, why did you get him to sign the CED?" And I kind of thought about it and I was like, you know what? It is kind of weird to him to sign that. But
well, that was also, I think we all made that kind of not mistake, but I think when we all started to go to conventions, I was always getting like physical media signed, and I would never do that now. That's just personal.
I'm not bringing all that shit
unless it's like something like a box set that I'll always keep on display. I'll get it signed. But like, dude, I've got the almost all the cast of Rob Zombie's Halloween on like that 3-disc DVD. You know, the one that somebody was asking earlier about, like the documentary. You know that one? I have like almost the whole cast signed on that thing, and you know where it is? It's sitting on my DVD shelf amongst thousands of other movies.
Yeah,
you know, so it's like there's not a good way to really display them unless like I get a shadow box or something like that. But then there's signatures on the back, the front, or whatever. So I would never do that now. But I think we all went through a period of time where we were just big fans, and it was easy. And
yeah,
you know,
it's my first year. I brought that CED, got that signed in our bedroom. I have a Hellraiser 3 Laserdisc signed by Doug, and then I got a Texas Chainsaw 2 Laserdisc signed by Bill Mosley.
But some of those, like if you put them in a frame on the wall, like that would be a nice display piece.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
You know?
They look great. Yeah, they look great. And it's so funny when I met Doug Bradley. He's like, "Oh, Laserdisc, very nice, it's a great format." At the time, these were the way to see them. Yeah. I missed the convention circuit in 2014, man. It was incredible. I mean, I walked up to people. You just went around. Mm-hmm. Now it's like it's like a I don't know. It's like a Taylor Swift concert. I mean, they even made a huge venue change last year, and it was still pandemonium. You know, so I don't know. I go in. I know who I want to go see. Like I got a couple more people I got to get for Return of the Living Dead 2 that I can. But I was able to go up to Suzanne Snyder pretty quick. She had a few people in line, but I went up pretty quick to her, and you know, she was cheap and everything. But I don't want to get off topic too much because that's a whole other thing as conventions. But so 6.5 for Garrett, 8.5 for Brandon, and it looks like the median was 7.5 for the audience.
Nice.
So we're gonna move on. Brandon, we're gonna let you start it off. Brandon, I want you to describe this movie in 3 words to start us off. 3 words.
Psychedelic, very psychedelic.
That's 2.
Very, very late. Okay, fine. Fuck it. Psychedelic. Psychedelic, late 90s. Is that 3?
That's 3 words.
Okay, that's all I got. Fuck it. That's it.
Brennan, you rent Phantasm for Oblivion from Hollywood Video in 1999, correct?
No, probably Movie Gallery.
Who the hell went to Movie Gallery? Is where you go when Blockbuster doesn't have the movie.
We had Videoland, Movie Gallery, and Blockbuster in my town.
And wait, did your family, were you kind of like a lower middle class family, so y'all went to the Movie Gallery instead of the Blockbuster?
No, my immediate family, we were fucking poor. So Videoland was the $1 rentals due back the next day. Weekends at grandparents' house was Blockbuster, but Movie Gallery had
they had the
5
money.
deal. Yeah. Blockbuster had the 5, or not Blockbuster. Movie Gallery had the 5 for 5 before Blockbuster did.
So was Phantasm for Oblivion part of the 5 for 5 weekend?
No, I think Phantasm 4 is probably Movie Gallery in the early 2000s. Because I didn't rent it when it first came out on VHS.
But you rented it. You didn't go to your buddy. Was his name Troy? What was his name?
Tom. It's his birthday today. So Tom, if you're watching, happy birthday,
Tom.
my friend.
Happy birthday, man.
So Tom where was Tom in your life at this point? Because this is I'm trying to paint the picture here.
This was 2001-ish was when I first saw 4. This had already been out for like 3 or 4 years at that point.
Did you know about it, or did you just happen to see it one day?
Yeah, because when I first got into Fangoria magazine, it was like 97, 98. And one of the first couple issues I got,
anymore too, do you?
I do. I still have it in my room right now. I should have got it out. It had the Phantasm 4 on the front cover. Coming soon.
Did you flip your tray?
No,
Can you
because I
start?
wasn't really super versed in the series besides that first movie at this
Okay.
point. You know what
Okay.
I mean? So, but yeah, I really enjoyed part 4 to an unhealthy level, and I still enjoy it. I might like it better than part 3.
Where are we going with this?
Mm.
Fred. Okay.
Listen,
Garrett, meet me halfway.
Okay,
go ahead, Brandon.
go.
No, finish,
Meet me
Brandon.
halfway.
I understand why a lot of people don't like 4. I get it. It's
Why
filled.
don't they like it?
There's a lot of filler. There's a lot of people don't like the flashback stuff with Tall Man before he's the Tall Man, where he's just like a old man saying, "Hey, come back. We have to." All that. There's a lot of weird shit that people don't like, and there's all the portal things, and I like the mutant zombie cop scene's pretty intense. I love that shit.
That saves the movie for me. I'm just gonna say it right now. That scene of Reggie with the psycho cop,
and
the maniac cop, that is no bullshit. That's one of my favorite scenes from the series.
Fucking A. And the cop, I love how the dismembered cop in the back saying, "Help me," just gets blown up. Reggie's just like, okay, fuck
Hey,
it.
remind me, am I wrong? Was this the movie where Michael was like in the back of a hearse?
Yes, this is part 4. Part 4, he was in the back of a hearse and the tall man's in the back talking to him. And he dives into the coffin.
I don't remember hating those scenes.
That's part 4, right, Garrett? Or is that 3? That's 4.
Man, he was definitely this is the one where it starts off where he's driving. So this ends.
Correct. So
this begins where 3 ends.
Right.
Correct.
There is a scene with Tall Man in the car. There is,
Yes.
but he's also in the hearse, I think, in another one at I think at the beginning of part 3, he's in the hearse as well, because then he gets kidnapped, remember? And then they have to rescue him. But we also forgot to really talk about his brother. Jody's back, but he's like in that ball form now.
Yeah, that's right. He's in the ball.
You know? So, which is interesting that they brought him back and he's kind of in here. But I think Saturn Video said it best here. Is he said Oblivion was so ambitious for a mid-range budget. This had no budget, dude. Like he was fucked on this budget on this. What was it, like 300,000 or something like
250,
that?
I think it was something.
I mean,
somebody said it in the chat.
Brandon, turn your camera off and turn it back on. Your camera froze.
But it's. I think it is. I think it's a really, for what they had to work with. This was very cleverly done.
Yeah.
The scenes they were able to shoot, the area they said they had like no money for like stages, so they had to kind of keep rehashing some of the same stages. And there was so much flashbacks, which I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's too many. I loved it because a lot of the stuff that we saw was stuff we never saw in part 1. And these were all cut scenes. There was some endings of part 1 that they used here, alternate endings that they used for this movie.
And it's in a tree, right?
Yeah. And got hung and all this other shit. Like, I think this is a fantastic way to, close the story, but also to see all this footage. I think it was awesome. My only issue with this is a hard one to sell someone on if they like happen to be in the video store and just like, oh, I'll rent this Phantasm 4. If you start this movie not knowing what the hell's going on, you're going to be really, really confused.
But see, my thing about 4 is, imagine you're getting into these movies and you watch them and you see the first one. This is what's so unique about Phantasm to me. I don't know how many other franchises are like this. The years these movies are made are really bizarre. So imagine you see Phantasm, you love it, and then you see the second one. It's like, oh, this is the 80s. This is the slasher era version, or this is the Michael, Freddy, and Jason era version of Phantasm. What do you like? I remember when I first got Phantasm 4 on DVD, I remember looking at the back and I said, holy shit, like, I don't know what to expect from a 1998 Phantasm movie. Like, truly, what the fuck am I going to see? Is it going to feel like, what is it going to look or feel like? And to me, this one does not feel like anything from 1998. To me, it feels almost more vintage than 3.
The best version of the Tall Man is in this movie. I swear to God.
Explain yourself.
His hair is like completely whited out at this point. He looks old. He sounds gravelly. And I get that he's acting, but there's something about the Tall Man in this movie. The little bit we see of him is awesome. I love it. And also the scene where Reggie's in the hotel room with the chick and she turns into like the zombie thing is incredibly freaky. Mm-hmm. Like there's some really, really good practical makeup effects in this movie. I was surprised at like the cop looked really spooky. The chick in the hotel looks really freaky. This is good stuff, I thought.
You know,
the budget, I was really impressed. Yeah,
you could take the first one and part 4 and only watch those two, and you can kind of get the whole story. And like, where can that ever happen, right?
Exactly.
So you think this is the best he ever looked?
I think that shot exactly, like this shot specifically. Dude, that's the tall man right there.
Yeah.
Look at that shit.
How old was he in 98?
He had to been like 60 or 70 at this point, right? Because he died at 89 in 2016. So I think this is like prime for me. Hell yeah.
You know, it's something about 4.
Don't.
No.
Christian.
I'm the opposite. To me, there's something weird about this. Is what's weird about 4 to me. Like the scenes where Michael and him are in the desert. I remember just saying, like, this is, to me, this one is somewhat of a fever dream, and I think it probably actually is that. And to me, I'm not saying this in the same way you would say Halloween is timeless, but there is something about 4 that does seem somewhat timeless. Like, you can't, to me, I can't really place what era it would be. You would have to tell me this was filmed in 1998 if I hadn't been that aware of these movies and I just kind of saw it, because I wouldn't know. It just doesn't feel like it to me. It's weird. But I agree. I think the tall man does look really good in 4. Now that I'm looking at the images again. But like I said, to me, what I love about 4, it's one of my favorite moments from the series, hands down, is the Psycho Cop scene with Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. I love the shot of him fighting the cop and Reggie's leaning out the car and the zombie's on top of the car. The zombie's dead and he's got to move out. It's great.
Also, there's probably more than 2, but there's 2 very quick Jacob's Ladder-esque shots in part 4. There's a scene where Mike is driving the car in the beginning and he looks in the back, the rearview mirror. He sees like a ghostly visage of some creature in the back seat. It's a split second and it goes away, but it's very Jacob's Ladder-y in the way it's shot. And there's a scene where he's walking like towards like a cornfield or something, and he sees a creature like a humanoid. And we never see what the humanoid looks like up close. It's just there for a couple silent shots and then it goes away. It's very bizarre. So
would you describe Phantasm 4, Brandon, as like a thick movie?
Pretty thick, dude. It's thick and curvy for sure.
Oh man.
And they still had some fun elements to it. Like I always remember that one scene where Reggie, they're the cloaked monsters or whatever running through the trees looking down on them, and Reggie just shoots the gun in the air, and then all of a sudden you just see 3 just drop. Like he hit all 3. Like they just all drop at like different times. Boom, boom, boom on the ground. Like, I don't know. I just think it never had the right to be this good for a movie that came out 20 years later.
Yeah.
And, spawning 4, this was supposed to be the end of a franchise. It just, to me, it was way better with the budget they had than I think it had any right to be at this point in time.
Yeah.
I
wonder what the VHS sales were on 3 and 4 too. I don't know if there's any metrics we can find on that, or if Don knows, but I'd be very interested to know how well they sold on VHS for 3 and 4. And those were Universal again, right? Home video. Universal put those out on home video. 2
MGM did 4.
MGM did 4. Yeah. Wow, look at that! They're all over the place, man. That's wild.
Insane.
I wouldn't mind. I don't have the VHS of 3 and 4. Actually, I wouldn't mind snagging these things.
That red and purple part 3 artwork looks so cool.
Yeah. I kind of think I like 4 more than 3.
I do.
I think I'm going to go...
I'm going to go... Oh, God.
This is the way.
I'm going to go 7. Because it is really... it's different. And Reggie's Money... It's just... It's this weird movie. I like it. When I watch it, I like it a lot. I've seen 4 probably 5 or 6 times. And the most fun I ever had watching it, as a matter of fact, was the Joe Bob Briggs episode he did on Shudder with it. Oh, dude, it was so much insight he gave. Reggie was on there talking about the movie. So I really enjoy 4. You know,
I know what I'm doing when we're done this. I'm gonna watch
You know.
that.
I think it's hilarious also at the beginning of part 4. It's right after part 3, right? And like we know the little kid just pretty much died and Rocky died, right? But like Reggie doesn't bother even trying to look for them. He just leaves and goes on his way. Like
yeah,
they could like it's just so
Because he's
fucking
such a
bizarre.
badass, man.
he don't give a fuck.
Well, so another, I think I don't know what the story is with this, but somebody wrote a script for part 4 they never used, and they presented it to Don, and they wanted Bruce Campbell in it, and obviously it didn't work out. But I think the budget was too small at the time for him.
Oh
But
yeah,
how weird would that have been if Bruce Campbell kind of made a cameo in this movie? Don't know what he would have been. Maybe he would have been that damn cop. Who knows?
I would say he would have been the cop. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna agree with Christian. I'm gonna say this is gonna be. I'm putting this at 7. I'm ranking it at 7, so which means it falls right in between 3 and 2 for me. Like,
Yeah.
like dead in between.
Brandon, run through your scores of your first 3 movies before you give the score, and give me a second. Chat, start dropping your rating for Phantasm 4 Oblivion. So give us the rundown, Brandon, because
Part 1 for me was 7.5. Part 2 was 7. Part 3 was 8.5. I changed it to 8, but we'll keep it at 8.5. I'm going to say 8.5 for part 4 because I can't choose it over 3, but I can't choose 3 over 4. So I'll keep them the same.
interesting.
So
I really think when you go back and see 2 again, Brandon, I think you're gonna. I'm telling you, to me, I feel like this is your Phantasm. To me, it really is kind of like the Jason Lives of the series, dude. It's a rock concert. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I fucking love 2. We got a 4 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 6, 6, 8, 6, 7. It's gonna be. This is gonna be all over the place. My guess is the median's probably gonna be 5.5 or 6. So. We'll see. I'll kind of creep it in as we go along. But okay, 6, 7, 6, 6, and maybe it'll be 6. I think 4 is going to be 6. So it looks like the audience has been high for 1, lower for 2. I think 2 was probably about a 7. 1 was probably a 9 or a 10. Then 3 was probably like an 8. People love in the chat. They loved 3. And it looks like 4. They're going down back a little bit to about a 6. We're starting to get some 7s in there. So that's where we're at with the chat. But now it's time for the main event. Garrett, do you have any other cool collectibles that you haven't shown off? Because I've got my tall man. I've got my. Go get your magazine.
I have something cool I can showcase. So I have that box set. I have the 4K. I had the frisbee. I have the sphere.
Did you get the other Welgo Blu-ray set with the sphere that came out?
No, I didn't. No. And then I just have like the old DVDs.
Right.
And I actually have this cool piece I can bring out. It's a signed poster that I can bring out. Actually, Wes got it for me. I paid him to get it for me at a convention.
Go get it. Go get it. Guys, I'm going to be recording a video tonight about the Elm Street box set, the potential Elm Street box set or Elm Street releases coming out on new releases for Blu-ray or 4K. I got sent some emails about that, so turn notifications on for me. I'm going to have a video about that tomorrow.
All right, so this is
oh man,
this is pretty cool. So it's basically like a tribute to Angus Grimm. So it's signed by all the cast of the first one, and that's kind of representing, Angus after he passed. Man. So this is pretty cool. I think Mondo put this out, I believe. But yeah, it's got all the cast on there. They were all at a convention, and I had this print, and this was, I think, right when he died. So as like a memorial to him, I sent it to Wes, and he got everybody to sign it for me. So that's kind of a cool piece. I do have Angus's autograph on like an 8x10, but yeah, that's a kind of cool piece. That's just kind of everybody else in the movie, like Michael Waldwin, Don Coscarelli. You got Jodie on there. You've got the girl, the lavender lady in lavender, and all that stuff. So.
Hell yeah! So did you not? You're like me. So you got this box set when it came out.
Yeah.
And then a year or so later, they put out another box set. The enticing thing about that box set to me was I think it was the uncut version Go ahead, Brandon. What we got? Hold on, B.
Oh,
you still got it, dude. That
That's
is
nice, dude.
cool.
I like that.
Dude, that's the prime era of Fangoria right there.
This is the second issue I ever owned. The first one is destroyed. I somehow kept this one in pristine condition, like almost pristine.
Where did you get him at the time?
Books A Million.
That's where I get my Fangoria. Is that Chucky?
No.
Look at that, Brandon.
Yeah, dude.
That's
So I bet reading about it was made you say to yourself, "God damn, I want to see this movie."
Look at that cop photo right there, dude.
That's what I'm saying. It's disgusting. That's a great scene. It's a great scene.
Dude, huge amount of coverage in this magazine, dude. You're right. Fangoria was in its prime back then, dude.
Yeah, it's good now, but it's not dangerous like it was back then.
Right.
You know, it's very formal, and there's a lot of good writing in it. But back then, man, you just felt like I'm about to see some. Because that's the thing. Back then, you were seeing shit that you weren't going to see on the internet.
Oh yeah, like there's a Wishmaster magazine I have from around the same era, and it has all the gruesome stuff from Wishmaster.
Yeah, Horror Hound's my favorite magazine today. I'm not just saying that because I got to be in it. There, it feels like older Fango.
No, Fango got nerfed.
It feels like the Tony Timpone era of Fango, which I want to find Tony. Somebody said he's on Instagram. I actually think I followed him the other day. If memory serves, I want to talk to Tony. I want to do an interview with Tony. You know, I wonder what happened, why he got out of Fangoria. Maybe he just didn't feel like doing it. Maybe he got pushed out. I don't know what happened, but everybody knows Tony. He used to be in every documentary for horror. He was just like Fangoria editor, Tony Timpone. So very cool. Brandon, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Garrett, let's me and you go first. Garrett, I'm going to surmise this, and you can agree or disagree with me and then add your feelings. I think I can speak for both of us, kind of. You were kind of excited about this because it's just like, hey, hell yeah, it's Don, tall man's in it. We didn't know how sick he was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get this movie, Phantasm Ravager 5. I'm not crazy about the name. It is what it is. You put on Phantasm, you start watching it. You just feel sad. You don't talk about the movie in a negative way that's just mean. You just kind of feel sad. And then you see Angus in the bed, and then your heart just rips in half. You're not happy to see him. I don't think this movie is... I just wish they had left it alone. That's how I feel. As much as I love Phantasm, and it's nothing against Reggie, even this movie, I don't feel like Reggie was on his A game for this. And I don't really blame him. But this movie just really bums me out, and I don't like seeing Angus in this movie the way he was in it. I want to remember him how I remember him, as that mean son of a bitch from 2 and 3 and 1. And this movie's just depressing to me. And it's not so much that it just, this movie sucks. Like, I don't want to do that. That's so cliche. It's so cliche to be like, oh, this movie's a piece of shit. It's low budget. It's fucking terrible. No. It just makes me sad. It's not what I want to see. I just don't want to watch it. I've seen it twice, and I just get sad seeing it. That's how I feel. I don't know if you're the same way. I'm not resentful or have bad feelings towards it. Now, fuck this movie. This movie sucks, Don. It's just sad watching it. That's how I feel.
It's funny because when you were talking about it and saying, is this how you feel? Is this how you felt? I kind of smiled because it was pretty much exactly how I felt. I was actually excited for it because, being such a big Phantasm fan, I was like, all right, we're going to see. We got one more. I feel like I also can't give a real good opinion on this because I only watched it the day I got it and I never went back and watched it again. So I really have, my memory of it was very low budget. Kind of like you said, it was sad to kind of see, Angus, and I don't think the performances, they felt like a lot of the performances to me felt dialed in. But I can't, it needs to be something I've got to go back and rewatch to see, to try to look at it from a different lens, but it's hard for me to give my honest opinion on it. Like in my head right now, I'm thinking I would have gave this thing like a 4. But I think I really have to go back and watch it again. To me, I don't look at this as like a cash grab. Like I don't look at this like, oh, he threw everybody in there to just get some money. To me, I always felt like Ravager was more like a reunion of the cast. Like he was doing this to kind of get the gang back together one last time because Angus was getting old. So when I look at that, I almost look at it. I almost don't even look at it as part of this, but I look at it as almost like a reunion of the cast's reunion. So I don't know. It's hard for me to really give my opinion on more than that because I've only seen it that one time.
Yeah. And I don't blame you. And I don't, quite frankly, I don't think you're going to revisit it. I think you may look at it and then you'll say to yourself, I don't think I want to do it.
Well, I kind of want to look
now
at it
that
and be like, I forget what, if there's more to it. And that's why I'm actually really excited to hear what Brandon has to say because he might sell me on checking this out one last time, and because he's going to probably hit us with a different lens as well.
Well, Brandon said something that really shook me to my core. I mean, I dropped to a knee when he said something about Ravager. Brandon, do you want to say what it is? Do you want me to kind of set it up for you?
Set it up for me. Go ahead.
Brandon looked in my optical stems. He looked me straight in the eyes, Garrett. He says to me, the only issue with Ravager is if they would put a film grain effect over it, the film would be a masterpiece. That came out of his mouth.
You said it was better.
He said,
still puts his foot down and says it's better than Ends, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Brandon, take it away.
Can you say? All right, let's do that again. All right,
Brandon, look at this comment too. I want you to read this comment, and I want you to go off of this comment and then take it away for Ravager. Read out loud in case people.
I work daily with patients who have dementia and Alzheimer's. I feel that Ravager was Reggie dealing with his own onset of dementia. Love the movie. I could see that. The movie can be interpreted so many different ways. It's bizarre. It's the most bizarre entry for sure.
And that says a lot.
It's the cheapest looking, unfortunately. It does look a lot like a Sci-Fi Channel original, like a student film. I think a lot of that, there was just too much clarity. If they had added 1 or 2 layers of film stock grain, I think that would have helped visually. A lot of the CGI is really overblown and overdone, but I think it helps. I get what they were trying to do with the story, like the giant spheres blowing up the cities and stuff. It's far into the apocalypse. It's sort of like a Mad Max version of the world because it's several years removed, right? But I don't know. I enjoyed the story. I thought that the multiple tall man thing, the multiple realities, a lot of people didn't like it because basically you can never defeat the tall man is what this movie is saying. But that was sort of already established at the onset of part 3 when he throws the other corpse into the portal. We've sort of already established the rules of the tall man can never really be defeated. So I didn't really mind that too much. I know a lot of people take issue with that plot beat specifically. But I know Angus Scrimm was, he did a journeyman's job of coming back to it. And I think he had a good time from what I read about the film. I think it's cool that he tried to do it. I think his hair should have been longer. But it was cool seeing him back.
They fucking rolled him into the scene
for a novelty, at least. I mean, at least he was back. Yeah. Mike was weird in the film, but the actor Michael Lerner, God damn it,
Michael
Baldwin did a good job, and Reggie was fantastic as always for me. He seemed older because he was probably, I think, in his early 70s when they shot this now, but he still seemed like Reggie.
He did.
And the cameo from Rocky was cool. Seeing her back in the film was awesome. It was a road movie again. It looked cheap, but I actually thought the road chase sequence with the spheres looked pretty cool considering the budget. You know what I mean? I just think it sounds so stupid to say out loud, but I swear to God, if you were to take this film and add 1 or 2 layers of film stock grain, it would look so much better. Because it looks so crystal clear.
Why don't you do that?
I was just going to say that. Why don't you take it upon yourself and create the ultimate Ravager cut?
I could. But I don't know, man. It is sort of a sad story because we know that Angus Scrimm died, and seeing him in the bed is weird, and he looks so old and feeble. And also the Reggie storyline with him, apparently, I guess you can interpret that he dies at the end.
Yo, I forgot about this.
I didn't. That was today's years old, but I assumed he did. No,
it was directed by David Hartman.
That's funny. I had no idea. I assumed that. Why would Coscarelli not do this? He was pushing for the final one for so long, and it was in developmental hell, yes, That's weird that he wasn't involved in that at all.
He may.
Here's what I'll ask you guys: is the problem the story because it flip flops so much more than the other films do? Because this one, like, I don't like the movie Hellraiser Hellseeker because it's so back and forth the whole movie, but I enjoyed this entry for the same sort of executions. Is that why you guys don't like the movie? Because it's so back and forth from one reality.
I didn't
to
like the
next?
movie because I felt like it just, like you said, it felt so, the budget felt so different than the rest of the franchise. I feel like, at least with, even though we had part 4, which the budget was a lot less, using those old scenes, it made the movie feel, it didn't feel so low budget because they used the budget wisely. They filled the gaps with cut scenes from the other movies. It kind of all flowed, where I think this one was just really, it was so low budget, and because they were trying to tell like a full story, I think it really just took it down a notch. I think if it didn't feel so low budget, I don't think I would look at it as the same way I do. So that's why I'm saying, and someone had made a good point in here. Imagine you sitting down, putting some grain on it, adding some old, inserts of maybe some flashback scenes in there. It could maybe be a passable cut,
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't expect to like this movie at all when I watched it the first time, and then I loved it. And then I've seen it 3 or 4 times now because I watched it again this week. I think it was my 4th time, and I still enjoy the film a lot. But I can see why a lot of people don't like it. I don't think I'm an auteur or anything because I like the film and other people don't. I just think it's one of those movies where you either love it or you hate it. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those things. But I think most people hate it.
Yeah. I have to rewatch it and give it a fair shot because I think I was just so bummed out the first time I watched it that it just felt like a half-assed version of a movie that I really loved. Like as far as like the quality and stuff that maybe there is something there that I need to check out again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see when the last time Don directed was. He might have just wanted to retire as a director.
Did he do a Masters of Horror? I think, right?
He did. It looks like the last movie he directed was John Dies at the End, which I actually like that movie.
Yeah, and that's another one where we talked about Coscarelli, like when you don't, he goes balls out. Like that's another movie which is cool, but at the same time, it's all over the freaking map. You don't know what the hell's going on there half the time, but it's a cool movie if you guys haven't seen that one. Have I seen Overboard, Quentin? Yes.
It's interesting. I don't know why he didn't direct it.
David Hartman. DVD, Brendan? Do you have Overboard on DVD?
DVD, yes. I do somewhere.
Yeah, so
I have an unwrapped VHS of Overboard though on the shelf.
Brandon will go to the flea markets, just come home with a bunch of sealed VHS tapes.
Oh, fucking A, dude.
Got this the other day, it was sealed.
I got Death Becomes Her sealed from the flea market for like $2, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Hardcore.
Start getting those graded, bro.
I should. I really should.
Selling for $30,000.
That grading stuff I'm going to go off a tangent here, but that grading stuff is crazy to me. Like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre VHS graded in the plastic box is like $15,000 on eBay.
Yeah.
And if I was rich, I would buy it, but I'm just saying it's crazy.
I think the whole grading thing is just silly. I mean, we're grading VHS tapes.
I bet you it'll happen to DVDs eventually. I guarantee you.
Who was it? Wasn't it somebody who just said that they bought? I'm moving on to like a podcast or something. Somebody bought like a magic card for like $100,000, $200,000. Who was that? It was a celebrity.
I saw something about that on Pawn Stars.
Maybe it was
Cavill.
No, what's the guy's name? I don't know. What's the guy's name who you always do the thing where he's like, "Oh, that's cool, man." What's that guy?
Oh,
what's his name? He's got the tattoos on his face. He's got the grills. Oh, all right, man. That's cool. You know that guy?
Paul Wall?
Singer.
No, not Paul Wall.
He's the new. He's like a singer now. I don't follow music now. So
Post Malone.
Post Malone. I think it was him that bought like a magic card that from like a Lord of the Rings magic card. I think he bought.
Post Malone.
I think it was him, and it was like
because Logan Paul's Pokemon cards.
Yeah, so it's just kind of funny that there's people out there that'll spend the money on that kind of stuff. I think
crazy.
Someone did just buy a VHS tape sealed of something for like $20,000. I think I saw it the other day.
I'll be damned. I mean, I'm gonna have to give Ravager like a I'll be generous. I'd have to give it like a 5. I really would.
Should we say 5 because of Ravager 5? You know, you gotta give it just fair.
You know, this is the case where the band stayed too long, and they should have retired sooner.
I agree. It was too far gone at that point. I mean, you got to think about it. When did this come out? 2000 what?
It was
19?
filmed in 12, 13, 14 a little bit, and then it got edited over the next couple years.
But think about how long ago that was. The first one came out in what, 79?
That's what's that's the most interesting thing about Phantasm. The space between all the sequels is just almost laughable. You know, let's come back in 6 years, 7 years. I guess we'll.
But that's the one thing about it, Phantasm, that's so intriguing to me, or like really fascinating to me, and that's why I love it so much. Is take Ravager out of the equation, right? And even talking to the chat tonight, I mean, to have a franchise that spanned over 20 years, it only had 4 movies, but for each movie to be above a 6 in people's eyes is pretty impressive, to be honest with you. You know, you look at a lot of these franchises, and you get a couple sequels here and there, and all of a sudden they start to dip real hard. You know, let alone a 20-year span. We only got 4 movies. For them to actually be that passable, where they're above a 5 all across the board, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
It is. So what do you give it? Same 5 or
4 to 5 for me? 4.5. Oh, Brandon, what are we gonna do here, man? What are you gonna say?
I'll probably give it a 7, so it lives with part 2 right now.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, think about that, man. Like this literally, if you think about it as a whole, this might be like, this could be one of your favorite franchises at some point, dude. You went from like what a 7 to above on all of them.
Is it the most consistent franchise, Brandon?
Consistent? Oof. No.
Is it the most consistent franchise? You know what I mean?
I think it's the most bonkers franchise. That's what I think. Reggie makes the franchise. You're like, the tall man's great, but Reggie is really what we watch the movies for. I think we talked about that earlier. Reggie's fucking awesome. It's hilarious. He's like the everyman's everyman, more so than Ash from Evil Dead 2.
I agree.
That interpretation, like
more of Reggie us in life look like Reggie.
And he was an ice cream man. I mean, that's a killer whole thing at the beginning too. He was literally like the ice cream man who turned into just total badass. I mean, that's huge. But with that being said, it made me think, like, what do you think the most consistent good horror franchise? Like, if you had to pick one, like in my head, I'm thinking right off the bat, I think Friday the 13th is pretty freaking consistent in my eyes.
That's probably my choice. That's my favorite franchise. So it's probably that. But also at the same time, there's a lot of duds, but Nightmare might be the most consistent franchise. But then you could say the same thing for Saw. Not so much Halloween. I don't know.
No, Halloween, not for me. No way. Halloween.
It's definitely not fucking Hellraiser.
No.
Unfortunately,
it's definitely a personal taste thing, I think, because you could interpret that in a certain way. Well, which franchise is consistent? Well, Saw is literally a soap opera. It's the days of our lives through horror.
It's a TV show. It is.
So that in that sense, you could say, oh, that is absolutely consistent. But if you mean like how much of them do you like in a row, that's a whole different story. You know. For me, it's Elm Street and Friday, because I can binge both of those.
Evil Dead's a good pick. I don't think Scream. To me, Scream's like, I don't know. I wouldn't say that. To me, that's consistent at all. I think I really like one Scream, to be honest with you.
Dude,
I think the rest are just kind of like meh.
It's weird. I don't know what it is about me, but I've become a bigger fan of 3 over the last year or so. I like 3.
3's great. People hated 3 for 20 years, and it always pissed me off.
You know, it's just one of those things. Brandon, are you ready for this?
No.
The award for the Sexy Sentinel Phantasm film that ain't half bad award. Garrett, which award which movie is going to get the award for the Sexy Sentinel Phantasm film that ain't half bad?
Jesus.
I got my pick, dude.
4.
My clothes are off.
Oblivion.
Yeah, I'll probably say that.
Agreed.
Same.
Agreed. 4.
Oh, it's a clean sweep on the board. 4
Wow.
is the sexy Sentinel Phantasm film that ain't half bad award.
It's the most underrated film, dude. I swear to God.
See, Brandon, like I don't like that word, but I actually think you could use that word. In my opinion, that word can be applied here.
Agreed.
It's funny. Saturn said Oblivion too. Yeah, it's funny that we were clean sweep. I think it's true. Like it deserves more respect for a 4th movie in a franchise that came 20 years past the first one, and it actually works with a shit budget. It actually kind of works really well.
Dude, I love this answer for the most consistent horror franchise. Like honestly, they're not exactly wrong. I mean, you get what you get in every damn film.
Back to the Hood's really good. Really, really good.
You know,
I thought you guys were gonna hate Oblivion for some reason. So I'm glad to see you guys liked it.
You know what? It's just one of them. It's one of those movies that to me, it's just like he kind of pulled it off again. Like, damn, he actually made this movie really fun. And when I heard that, when Joe Bob was saying you're going to see a lot of footage from the first movie in this, I was like, oh. But some of that footage was cool, and it feels like cool footage that got held out. It didn't feel like left. I'm not saying I don't want to go as far as to say like, oh, it feels like he held off to use this in a later movie because that would be bullshit. But it feels like cool footage you almost weren't supposed to see. It had this because it was really creepy, weird footage. It wasn't bullshit footage. I actually like the footage that they used for the most part. And like I said, dude, that cop scene is just so fun. Loved it. So yeah, I definitely think that Phantasm 4 deserves the award. And that was fun. I don't know where Brandon went, but yeah, I'm down for some Phantasm. I don't watch these movies as often as I should. I don't know how often I should watch them, but it's been a number of years. So
yeah, I'm actually I'm actually thinking about trying to watch Oblivion again now. It's been a while since I've checked that one out. So or even just like going into a lot of the bonus stuff, like, on a lot of these editions.
What's going on with my internet's tonight, man? What's going on here?
Garrett, let's take a look at something real quick.
Let's do it.
Dude, is that a bunch of Freddy Five Nights at Freddy's? Dude, there's so much.
Oh yeah.
It's covered with Five Nights at Freddy's.
Look at them.
Dude, there's thousands of them.
Oh yeah.
That's a nice dude. What do you got there?
Fucking thousands of them.
Hey, look, you're on TV.
Woo, woo.
Oh, wait, I'm on TV. Wait a minute. How's that work?
Because we're over here, I think.
Oh, right, duh. Okay, that makes sense.
Let me ask you guys a question. This has been really fun. And for the chat, I had a great time. Thank you guys. Let me ask you guys a question. What is going to be the best movie of the year? And why is it Winnie the Pooh 2 Blood and Honey?
Oh, God, dude, I haven't even seen the first one. I have nothing to say about this.
Dude, I swear to God, it's super fun.
He's full of shit, Garrett. Don't watch it.
No, listen to me. I said this, and it's not a 5-star film. Don't get me wrong. It's Kill Her Goats, except actually entertaining.
Oh, God.
I don't know if you watched Kill Her Goats.
I did watch that, yeah.
It's boring as fuck, right?
I watched Kill Her Goats, and then when everybody was trying to promote the second one, I was like, what are you guys, out of your mind?
Dude, that's so badass. Dentist 2. I love it. Dentist 2 is my favorite because of
Look at that freaky ass shot of that guy.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. The scene with Clint Howard is so hysterical when he's trying to work on Clint Howard's teeth.
I agree with Vanderhoff. I think Maxine is definitely,
of course, that's my answer too. When is that coming out though?
August, right?
Is it?
I don't know.
I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Fuck it, that's gonna be the best movie, Ghostbusters.
All I know is they better not make me fucking cry like a baby because I can't do it again. That's great. I love that movie.
Dude, I'm gonna have to go through all these magazines now and have a totally nostalgic.
Dude, if in some of the ones I have from the 80s, like 89, the masks they were selling are so freaking cool. The Puppet Master toys.
I had some of these in the 90s.
Yeah, dude, he made a fortune off of those.
Yeah.
So, Garrett, are you getting the? Are you gonna get Thursday? You're gonna get the subspecies coffin set,
I'd probably get it.
dude. I'm so excited. I already told the
Now,
wife; she's okay with
Is
it.
it Blu-ray or 4K? What is it?
So, here's the deal, and I swear I'm not trying to sound like I'm just defending Charlie with this. I'm just giving you the facts. It's Blu-ray. Subspecies 4 has never had a Blu-ray. Charlie talked about during this time he was running out of money because he had lost the Paramount deal, so he wasn't storing stuff anymore. He was liquidating stuff, and the master, the original negative, as far as he could tell, is just gone. It's damaged. It's trash. So he said what they did is they got the master tapes for the movie, and they did a big upscale conversion project for it. And that's not great news, but the good news is I have seen Blu-rays where they took the surviving elements closest to the negative that they could, and they've made some decent looking Blu-rays. For instance, Cellar Dweller from Scream Factory is not a negative. They got a master tape of it, and they upscaled that, and on that Scream Factory, it looks pretty good. So I'm excited for that. So Subspecies 4. Vampire Journals, which is kind of like a offshoot sequel. I like Vampire Journals. And then you get the soundtrack CD, but the coffin is gorgeous. And I don't know if you saw that video I sent you of Charlie showing it off. It looks dynamite, and it comes with
their case that they did for the Pub Masters is a very nice case. So if it's any quality as far as that, I mean,
it's gonna go right next to it. I have my Puppet Master trunk right here. I'm gonna move Leatherface out the way, and that coffin set's gonna go right. I love Subspecies. I don't know.
Are we getting the one that we just got on Blu-ray as well in there? So we can dump this one, or is it going to be?
Yes, it's going to have. Yeah, you can sell off your old one if you want. It's going to have all 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first time. I think Vampire Journals already has a Blu-ray. I don't own Vampire Journals at all. I don't know why. I guess I keep forgetting about it, but I'm excited because I'm going to get Vampire Journals, and then you get the soundtrack, a CD soundtrack in a Blu-ray case. I don't know why. I guess just to kind of fill out the coffin a little bit more. But I'm a sucker for stuff like that because I love the it's like decoration too, and I don't know, it's so cool, it's so unique. It's gonna sell fast. I know it is. So day 1 on Thursday, I'm getting that.
Is that when they're doing their big Valentine's Day thing, or is it that's just the drop for that?
That's the drop for that. He was pretty open about it. He was like, this is not going to be on a Valentine's sale. This is too high end. I cannot offer this half price. I just can't do it. So, like I said, he did a video on YouTube and he went over that. But the half off sale is always the best sale for the full moon stuff. I mean, you go on there, most everything is half off except some of the bigger stuff he does. But the Puppet Master trunks have been out for so long, those have gotten to where he starts selling those half off. But they sell out, then he'll get more, and then whatever he has left. If you want a Puppet Master trunk, I'm telling you, when the sale hits, if you're not ready when that sale hits within the first 20, 25 minutes, forget about it. You're going to have to just get the regular Blu-ray set. Those trunks sell like that. And they're nice. I mean, that's probably the nicest thing. I love my replica puppets, but the trunk, dude, it's a trunk. It's a trunk.
It's got friggin' hinges, and it's got the lock and all that stuff. It's legit. Yeah, it's not cardboard. It's nice.
So I'm over the moon excited for the Subspecies coffin. Very excited about it. So I'm gonna be ready Thursday. That's gonna be my Valentine's gift. Is that so? Yeah, I'm ready. So Brandon, anything? We'll wrap it here. Brandon, you've been pretty busy with the channel.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been real good. I
got monetized again.
Remonetized and a lot of consistency in video releases. And,
how pissed off does it make you though that they just like that? They were like, okay, yeah, we'll give it to you. I mean, does it annoy you that you did a repeat appeal video, and then the next day they're like, okay, yeah, you're right. You get what I'm saying? Like how fast they were like, okay, we got your video. We're gonna investigate the things you're saying. It's not like they said that. They saw your video and they're like, oh, you're right. Here you go.
Yeah.
Doesn't that kind of annoy you a little bit?
Yeah.
Or is it long enough where you're just like, okay, I'm just finally glad to have it?
Both. It's just like, they took 3 months of revenue away because of that nonsense, and then they stole about $300 worth of revenue and then never gave it back. So my ass is still a little bit burned about that. So
all I know is you better make that Castlevania Part 2 playlist, brother.
Oh yeah. I'm working on it.
Just upload that same video 9 times on the internet, so people
just got to make sure I keep putting commentary to it, so it's legit.
Corey Conway, go to my channel after the stream and go look at the latest video I just posted. I show you the coffin video. I show you the coffin set. So Brandon, you got some videos in the pipeline?
No, not right now at all.
Taking a break.
I got to record a bunch for next week because I'm trying to do them once a week on all 3 channels, and so far I've been consistent for like the last 8 weeks.
Tabata Tunes.
I'm out of stuff. Like my Kiss videos on Tabata Tunes are still pretty much blowing up. So,
wow, that's awesome, man.
Tabata Vision, thank you. Tabata Vision TV is kind of floundering a little bit, but
that can't all be. Yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
You got a lot of channels keeping up with.
Oh yeah.
Hey man, are you on YouTube? Yeah, I'm on YouTube. What's your channel? Tabata Vision TV, Tabata Tunes, Tabata Brand, Tabata.
Oh yeah.
Goddamn.
I love it.
What about you, Garrett? What we got coming up?
I just got I'm going to be diving into the 2000s horror, so I'll be starting to dive into that a little bit the next couple weeks. Going through some of my favorites, some hidden gems through that time frame. I've got some stuff I got some stuff to review. I've got to get that done. I have a couple videos I've been sitting on for a while. Top 10, favorite vampire movies. Top 10 favorite werewolf movies. I got to get those finished. I've also got some stuff over on the Rad Pack podcast that are coming. We just did an interview with the writer of that new movie, Destroy All Neighbors. I don't know if anybody's seen it. It's on Shudder now. It's actually a pretty cool movie.
What was that again?
Destroy All Neighbors.
Oh yeah, damn it, dude! I got to see The Puppet Man. People said that was really good. Destroy All Neighbors.
Yeah,
I got to see that.
So we're dropping an interview with the writer. It's all done. I just gotta edit and drop it. So that's coming. We're going to be doing Valentine versus My Bloody Valentine over on the Rad Pack podcast this month.
Valentine's going to win, Garrett.
we'll see. The chat's going to have a lot to do with the winner. So if you want to pull for Valentine, get your ass in that chat.
All right.
When we do that,
is the remake included in this? Or are you leaving that out?
We're gonna do 81 versus 2001. Yeah. So so I guess the age group of the people coming in the chat are going to really determine who's going to win this battle here.
Dude, Valentine has decent enough acting. That's all I'm going to say about it. That's Brandon's defense when he put it in his top 10 slashers. Why do you like it, Brandon? It's got decent enough acting. What a sell.
Oh, yeah.
No, but I think he was right. One of you said something that it does feel very Giallo, really. With the style killer and stuff like that, for sure. Yeah.
Black leather gloves. Yeah. All that stuff.
But yeah, for sure. So, I mean, that's a couple things coming up on my channel and also on the Rad Pack channel. So you guys can check that out. I've sitting on a Joe Dante video talking about Scream Factory titles. I'll probably maybe just do that live next time I go on to get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, always something cooking. Couple vids a week.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm gonna try to knock out some stuff tonight. I got some stuff.
Scott, you're on fire, man. I don't know how you do it.
I write down.
When do you sleep by any chance? Because we were chatting this morning at like 3:45 a.m. So I don't know what the hell time you sleep.
Well, I'm at graveyards right now. So, like when I get done tonight, I got some ideas. I just watched this before the show, and I fucking loved it. The American Nightmare.
I actually don't own that.
Whoa!
I don't.
No, dude. Hey, this was good. This was really good. It was like Nightmares in Red, White, and Blue, but much more director focused. Like they really let the directors talk about their experience of the movies they made. Like the Dawn of the Dead segment on this was sensational. It was really good. This came out in 2003, so everybody was still alive and well. So yeah, I'm gonna do a video on that. People seem to be. It's weird. I mean, sometimes I say to myself, "Who's reviewing horror documentaries on DVD from 2001?" And I say to myself, "Nobody. I probably shouldn't do it." But then I say to myself, "Well, you had a good time watching, Christian. Maybe you can get other people excited about it." And it seems to people seem to enjoy them. So
I mean, me being a big DVD collector back in the day and all those things that are just, I mean, you'll never see that shit again, right? So to me, that's great to go back in time like that because, you know, you want to find something like that that's pretty cool that you're never going to get again. You're going to have to eBay that shit. So I think it's cool that you're doing that, to be honest. I'm actually kind of mad I didn't think of it.
Do it, man. You know,
Like,
just do it.
It's great.
Yeah.
You know,
Somebody sent me a picture. They were like, "Hey, it's funnily enough, they were like, "Hey, I saw you got American Nightmare today. Do you have this?" And it was a DVD from 2003 or 4. It's called The Films of. It's like John Carpenter and his films or something. And it's a documentary about John Carpenter's films. This is like early 2000s, and I'm like, it was a DVD, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'll send you a picture of it. I've got to get it.
Yeah,
I've got to get it. So yeah, I got that. I'll write down ideas on my phone. Boom. That's the beauty of technology now. I'll have ideas, and then I'll say to myself, okay, that's either an idea for a video or a short, and then I'll write it down, and I'll wait till I have about 15 short ideas, and then I'll film them all. Just film all of them, and then I set them for the next every day. 7A, 7B, 7A, 7P. Then I time them, so I just upload them all and let them come out over the week. So I'll do 2 weeks worth of work in one night, and I'm good.
That's smart, man. You know, you have the time to bang that stuff out while everybody's asleep. You know, bang it out, boom, you're golden now. You don't have to worry about it.
Gonna watch Inside tonight from Second Sight. Excited about that. Did you pick up High Tension?
I did, yeah. I haven't watched it yet though. I've been hearing mixed reviews on the thing, so I'm kind of nervous to put it in, to be honest, because it wasn't cheap. So
I mean, listen, I have no desire to tell people not to buy something from Second Sight. It's not a Second Sight thing. I mean, if they're restoring the damn thing from the negative, that's just what the movie looks like to me. It's not unwatchable, but you got to turn those lights off.
That's that's the problem with 4Ks. It's so give or take. And I don't know if it's the 4K. I don't know if it's having an OLED TV. I don't know if it's a combination of both. But I mean, I have High Tension on Blu-ray, and I'm kind of like, I love the movie, and I wanted the upgrade. But at the same time, like, if I'm going to sit there and have to squint, I might as well just fucking save $50 and kept the one I had and just called it a day, you know? So that's why it's a little bit iffy on that. I'm going to watch it, but I'm just kind of bums me out a little bit when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, it's somewhat of a pain in the ass, you know? Really quick, last thing. Garrett will give you guys the recommend on this. I found this DVD earlier. Garrett, tell people to go buy or watch this movie.
I love The Bay. I think The Bay is a found footage movie that gets zero
attention.
Respect.
Yeah,
and attention. Yeah, for sure. There's some scenes in that made me like kind of freaking like cringe. You know, like in a way of like like my skin crawl. It's definitely one to check out for sure.
Yeah, it's great, guys. Check that out. Really good movie. Listen, I had a great time tonight. This was the Phantasm Frito-Lay. We're on diet, so me and Brandon couldn't get the Frito-Lay tonight. I drank.
What were you eating
my
earlier,
coffee.
Brandon? What was that thing? The crumbs.
Fudge brownie.
Sugar-free, right? Sugar-free, right, Brandon?
Vegan, yep.
Sugar-free.
The vegan, the paleo brownie.
Good stuff, dude.
Yeah, Brandon's wearing thin. You can see him. He's glazed over.
Dude, I'm gonna make an egg sandwich and go to bed.
My man.
Sit in bed and eat it while you're in bed, and then just.
Oh yeah, the crumbs. Oh, I love it.
You know,
just wake up in the middle of the night and snort them in my sleep. Good stuff.
You wake up, there's like egg crumbs all over. What the fuck happened?
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Guys, thank you all for watching. I had a great time. Florida Man Arrested for Arson burning Halloween DVDs. I've been shown the light. Demons 2 is God tier horror. That is not Brandon. Look at that picture of him. That doesn't even look like him.
Well, that's why he escaped prison and now he's got a new look, so nobody can find him.
Brandon, why does that look like an old? Why does that look like an old man? Hold on. All right, look, Garrett. I want you to look really hard at that picture of Brandon. And hold on. And now, all right, look at that. And now look at Brandon here. That's not the same person,
bro. You're de-aging. I mean, that's only what I dream about here. This is great.
Now he froze.
Look at that face.
God bless you all. I love y'all. Check out Garrett, Born to Be Red. Check out Brandon on Tabata Vision TV, Tabata Zunes, Brandon Tabata. Check them out. We'll see y'all later. Take it easy.
Peace.